What's up, everyone? Malo taumau, malo de soy fua. I hope you guys are having a great evening. For those who are still awake, it's evening time here in Aotearoa, and this is a live digital cover session that's coming to you from New Zealand. Let me see here. We are live on Facebook, Patreon, X, and YouTube. So I know it's been a minute since we've done a live digital cover session. So Tua and I are excited to do a live digital cover session on today's episode. Tua, how you doing? What's the happening?
Yeah, doing great. It's as you mentioned, it's been a busy 3 to 4 weeks.
Mm,
Uh, Baby number 8 joined the Wale clan here in Las Vegas.
congratulations, congratulations.
Malo. Yes, so that ate up a whole week and a half. Then it was birthday mode for myself and a lot going on at work as well. And then Mr. Atearoa was on the road.
Yep.
So it's been a good little bit, but we haven't been sitting around idle. Our social media has still been populating with shorts, a lot of short videos on all
Mhm.
our social media handles, and also we've been pushing out podcast episodes as well. Been very active. Actually, maybe because we maybe this is a trend, Mussy. We've done
Mhm.
fewer lives, but our views have skyrocketed the
Yep.
the last month, especially on Facebook. I think if we add up all of our views on Facebook, we probably were close to 300,000 views in total. Two hundred
Nice.
thousand, 200,000,
Mm,
over 200,000 was just on Tevita Fares Facebook page. So
mm.
a lot of activity there. And then we came real close, but we fell short on 100,000 views the last 28 days on YouTube. I
Not
think
too shabby.
on just our main page, right? I think if we were to add, because we have two YouTube channels, just so everyone you're aware, we have this YouTube channel that we do our lives, we release our podcasts, and we also release short videos as well. We also have a separate channel that's called Polynesianized Podcast Clips, and that is only short videos,
Hmm.
right? Short videos that are chopped up. I think we had about 50,000 views there. So with the 75 ish, 85 ish that we had on the main channel, I guess if we add those two up, we were 100,000 views on YouTube just on the last 28 days. And then that doesn't include TikTok, that doesn't include Instagram and X and Patreon, which we don't monitor as much. So
Yes.
still busy despite not being as active on the live session side, Mr. Atearoa.
No, awesome. No, Tua, and thank you for sharing the data on that. And I'll also just like to also share with our viewers some of the data we discussed just behind the curtain regarding most of our 40. I think it was 46 too, or 47. Almost half of our viewers are not subscribing, but they're viewing our content on a regular basis. I
Yes,
just thought that's
yes.
curious to share with our viewers that we having a very um, huge impact that people are not subscribing, but they are definitely following our channel because we see the data that's coming in. But I just thought I'll just share that.
Yeah, and that is very interesting. And as always, please like, subscribe,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Share the content. It goes a very long way, and we really appreciate it. But that is interesting, as you mentioned, Masi, that the returning viewers who aren't subscribed is very high. It was
Mhm.
like 43 or 46%.
Yep.
So we do get a lot of views, and we'll take it, right? We'll
Yep.
still take it. We'll still take the views as much as we can get it. But it'd be better is if they liked, subscribed, and share. It goes a very, very long way in just getting more awareness. And, you know, really appreciate our viewers, our listeners, and also adding, while we're on that topic, on Apple Podcasts for cultural discussions, we were number one. If you search cultural
Oh,
discussions, we're number one.
yes,
Uh,
sir.
So, and then I can't remember what the other two
Must
were,
be
but
cultured in Dua. We must be cultured. Are we
we
cultured in
yes, when we drink our tea, we put our little pinky
that
up.
we're
We,
cultured enough?
oh, Yahweh, Maria. So yeah, really, really appreciate the support. It's really exciting, especially when we consider that our market is a very niche market, right? Our
Mm,
group, very niche group, Polynesians. We're small but mighty, right?
yes, sir.
And when we come together and we're united, we do great things, and that's an exciting reason to be a Polynesian, is just to see the success of all of our brothers and sisters wherever they are, and we celebrate those successes as we go through the news. We go through historical discussions and just
Yeah.
what's happening in our environment.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, we have our first comment. You win it, Lotu. You're the first comment
Lotu.
in the return. So,
Thank you for
welcome,
staying up,
welcome.
Lotu.
Hey,
Togo, I know this is a later one. Thank you for
yes.
staying up. Malo.
So, Masi, make sure the kava, since it's a late start,
Yes,
we
sir.
want it to be smooth and enjoy it. And so, oh yeah, we Masi. What about this one over here? I thought we were gonna have a smooth and just a little good culture discussion.
Straight to the
But
heart. Straight
straight to
step
the
to the
heart.
heart. Eh?
Ben Smith, I love your dog. Hopefully, you look as good as your dog. But I'll read this comment.
All right.
Ben Smith says the royal family in Tonga sucks away. I don't know, about half of the income of the country for their personal use. How long can Tonga keep this going? We have a constitutional king that gets paid a salary like the king in England, not a king that sucks away the lifeblood of the country. Interesting. What's
Malo,
your
malo.
thoughts, Masi?
Benny Samita, Benny Smith.
Hmm.
um, to me, I think they add a lot more value. I mean, they add a lot more value than taking the income. I mean, I don't know. I mean, all the land is under the king, and he's giving it away through the constitutions with the rights of everyone having some land, especially for males within all the families. So, I mean, if you can go more in details, Ben, I mean, it's either you're anti-king, and you don't want a king, and you want us to be more like England, the monarchy of England, then maybe that's what you think. But I really don't see the king really sucking up. I mean, Tonga. The people are a lot more wealthier. You can even say 5, 10 years ago. I mean, economic activity in Tonga is going, and they're building, and everyone is a lot wealthier. The ones who are working the land and are being more productive. Using the opportunity, especially with the what is it, the seasonal pickings. That's really boost the economic accounts of many families throughout Tonga. So I mean, the king adds a lot of value. To my understanding, the king is on its way to China to secure more deals and begin in talks
China.
to,
China.
yes, China. And I mean, I think the king brings a lot more value, and I think people invest in the kingdom because Tonga is a very stable country compared to most other countries, that they are willing to invest some projects and infrastructure there. So I mean, that has to do a lot because of the king. If we had to, Tonga has been going through a applying the applications of some principles of democracy, and it's been very rocky since the 2010, to say the least. And when you have a lot of I feel like every new government, because it's run by the people, is a vote of no confidence happening. That's not a good look in the Pacific and around the world, because you are portraying that you are unstable to
Hmm.
invest people's money. So I mean, the king provides a lot of stability, and as long as the king, with our constitution and with the role of the some democratic principles, it's good. I feel like it's a fair balance at the moment. So if you can go in details, Ben, that would be much appreciated. But that's my thoughts, Tua. I don't know if you had
Yes,
any other
Ben.
take.
It's like you have antennas going out because this is a topic. Believe it or not, we are
Mm,
doing a deep dive into the governmental structure of Tonga, and we're gonna spend a good time. If you have the stamina, Ben, because this is a kava session that we're having. Sometimes
yes,
the kava sessions, before you get to the real meat and potatoes, we're gonna have some appetizers, topics before we get to that. But that's
yes,
something
sir.
we're definitely gonna dive into.
So
We're gonna
stick
go
around.
stick around. If this is something that's important to you, stick around.
Don't
So
go home
couple more.
early.
Yes, don't tell us you're gonna go to the bathroom and then never come back to the kumete. Don't be one of
What
those, Ben Smith.
what happened? What happened if they're on our side of the world, Tua, and they say they're gonna go sleep for church? Is that a good excuse or what?
Eo. We
eh?
you have to be careful, Ben. You have to say where you're tuning in from because we
Yeah,
have the northern and the southern hemisphere
yeah,
covered.
yeah,
Eh?
yeah.
So kind of get through. There's a lot of activity. We'll do some
All right,
quick
all right.
touches here.
Okay.
Lenny says, "Hey, hello."
What's up? What's
He
up?
says, the monarchy doesn't take half of the income. That's lies. Very
Malo, Lenny.
true.
Shoot
Hey,
that straight to Benny.
let me put it this way. I wouldn't take on the king's job for the pay that he's getting paid. Right?
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. If someone came and gave me and said, Tua, you're going to get paid what the king gets paid, you want to take the job, I would say, hey, what kind of other benefits? What's my
Mm,
bonus structure? What's the health benefits? What am I going to get? Because I've seen his pay. He's not even the most highest paid government employee,
no.
right? So that says a lot. Geez, man, the comments are blowing up. So we're gonna touch as many as we can.
Wow.
But we don't want to get too bogged down.
We're
It
definitely
says
Nighthawks tonight.
yes, but we have to bow down to the king. King goes good because that's what my grandma told me. Well, guess what? Sometimes maybe grandma's right. Maybe grandma's wrong. Maybe grandma's right.
There we go. That's right. That's a
Uh,
straight shooter answer right there. Listen,
Here's
maybe
here's a
listen to your grandparents a little bit more.
yeah. Maybe listen, and I'll share a funny story about that. Mussy, do
Yeah.
you remember like once or twice a week, Grandma Piuela would say, walk to the noni tree, the nonu tree. Each grandkid, you're gonna get three little leaves and three little
Mhm.
fruits, and you come back, you have to eat it. Sometimes put it in your eyes and ears. And I was like, Grandma, this is why we have the doctor. We have
Mhm.
the doctors to do. And then what do I find out? The Palangi made billions of dollars selling noni to people because they say, oh, good for your health, good for
Yeah.
some types of cancer and stuff. Hey, I thought of my grandma. I was like, oh, maybe grandma's right sometimes, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So
Good
we'll
answer.
go through Tau Samuelu, Malo Tau. He
What's
says,
up?
what's up,
What's
guys?
up?
Big fan.
Hey,
Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Welcome.
Really
Welcome to
appreciate it.
the live
Welcome,
digital combat
welcome.
session.
We always have to stop for our paying subscribers or our paid members. Mel, Malo, Mel, really
Malo,
appreciate
Mel.
it. Really appreciate that and the support. She gets that little symbol for being a paid
Yes.
supporter of the program.
Malo.
All right. I think there's some people bringing up the same people. I just wanted to touch the new people and
Gotcha.
not new, but just the single people who made comments.
Okay.
With that being said, we're going to introduce our first topic. Remember, Masi, this was an interesting topic we had where we said we saw a bright future for the run it
Run it.
sports and how this is an exciting sport because not only do you not see a new sport pop up a lot that has a lot of chance to go professional and to be
Hmm.
successful, but have Polynesians be the origin. Remember, it started with social media. I think two Samoan
Yep.
influencers, you know, and then now you have professional athletes sponsoring the Run It, and now it's in the U.S. But what are your thoughts, Mussy, before we show some clips from the Run It in the USA? But not surprised, right? We even discussed they
Yep.
should have stopped in Hawaii, have Max
Yep.
Holloway show up and join in that, but they didn't make it to Hawaii, but they made it to the ninth island of Hawaii, which is Las Vegas. But go ahead, Messi.
Oh, nice. No, I'm excited. I feel like there is some potential. The U.S. Um, media market is very, very lucrative. If you get any kind of percentage of that, you're gonna be blowing up very quickly and be financially stable. And um, and if you create a good product that the U.S. folks will like, and it's high standard, and we love knockouts and we love collision, this is something. And as long as it's done right and it's high quality product, man, like I said, you get a even a percent, or of a population that constantly consumes the product, you're gonna even surpass. Let's just say you're gonna surpass a lot of the rugby league guys who are still trying to
Yeah,
crack into the market. So very excited for this opportunity to see how it goes. I do wish it the best because one, this is just another pathway that some of our Polynesians that just for whatever injuries that they may have developing up that couldn't make it to the you know traditional pathways of like American football in the U.S. That's kind of dominant one, or basketball. This is something that they can this is like within their alley that they can probably go into and give a test. Dangerous, but that's what makes it exciting. So
yeah.
yeah, that's my thoughts there, Tua. I don't know if you had anything else.
No, 100%. This is an exciting area. I think that provides opportunity. What the run at Dubai was $200,000.
Wow,
That's what the winner
wow.
got, right?
Let's
So
go. Let's
imagine that.
go.
You met 200K, right?
Yeah.
That goes a long way. Like if you got 200K, wouldn't you say it was worth it? I mean, I guarantee you there's some of the NRL guys that aren't making the top money. They're not making 200K,
No, no. That's the
you know?
200Ks ones are like the ones who are actually been there for a minute. They're on their fourth or fifth year. Then they're making that kind of money. And then there's the top tier who are making a little bit closer to the seven figures. But that's interesting too. If I think Vegas is a good probably starting point because the taxes. If you do the tournament
Oh
in
yeah.
Nevada, right? You probably less hassle to deal with the taxes and stuff. So maybe that's why they chose Las Vegas, Nevada. I don't know. Just throwing an
Yeah.
idea out there.
Hey, Masi, we tried to tell Ben Smith, don't go use the bathroom and not come back in, homeboy. Thanks for the interaction. I gotta go.
Hey,
Yeah.
malo, Ben Smith. We'll try. Next time you come, we'll give you instead of a little a kava cup, we'll give you a big bowl for your punishment the next time you come. Eh?
Ay, Yahweh, malo, penishimiti. Malo. So, all right. So, first one, let's pull up a couple videos here just to kind of watch.
Any idea of the
Um,
prize money, Tua? Did they announce that, or is this just
so
barely
this is
starting?
tryouts. This is tryouts.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. Let's do that. So this is tryouts. Let's show that first. Let's go
Mm,
over where they're going in the US real
okay.
quick here.
While you looked at, I'll just add on that. Oh, see, these are the try. I was gonna say because Las Vegas, they're happening. That's a good area that it can pulls from the Polynesian states that most Polynesians live to. It's close to California, Utah, Arizona. There's some Polynesian community there. So I feel like Las Vegas is a good place to start, and also it's very tax friendly. So yeah, I don't have any bad ideas with where their starting point to like a negative thing to kind of critique of starting in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas is a big enough platform with the entertainment
Yeah,
capital of the world to kind of pro, kind of like let's just say promote the sport.
yeah. I mean, it's there's a good Polynesian community here. Obviously, being the ninth island
Mm,
for Hawaii, you have basically Utah, right? Salt Lake,
mm,
California, Seattle. These are all hot spots for Polynesians. And then Austin, it's a big
ooh,
football state. Texas,
mm,
right? Texas, you go big or go home. A lot of big boys in Texas. And then there's also some Polynesians in that Texas area as well. So I think I still like our idea of the west side of Oahu with Max Holloway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And having them go there. But hey, this is pretty good too.
yeah,
Not gonna
yeah,
complain. Not gonna complain. So this is exciting. I think
yeah,
this is has a lot of opportunity with it. And like you said, this could be something one other avenue for our people to excel and make a buck or two, you
yeah.
know. So with that being said, let's get this first one. This was in Vegas. I wasn't aware of it. I may have gone if I had time.
Runner
Here it is.
ready! Defender ready! Three, two, one, run it!
Good
Three,
contact. Good
two,
Good,
one.
contact.
good.
Hey, look at that stare down.
Goodbye.
Nice,
Your third place
nice.
winner, weighing $25,000 from the black
Oh, he
corner.
wins. So so
Champ.
So
so
the
in the
tryouts are
tryouts they
actually
win. They win
that's
money
not
in the tryouts. Mario,
25 grand USD. Not too
that's
bad,
not
man.
bad, man.
Not bad.
Hey, I like
Not bad.
it.
Yeah.
The Crusader, Big
And
Pound.
look, a Polynesian guy won it, right?
What was the name? Did they say the name? I didn't catch the
They
name.
said the name, but I didn't catch it all the way.
Okay.
But here's another one. That guy almost looked like David Fifita. I don't know why, but look again, like he almost looks like him.
He does. He does.
Yeah, look at this. Yeah. I would just the music is not my favorite, but
Mhm.
let's see what's the next one. Let's try this one.
Ready. Three, two, one, run it.
Ooh.
Mm.
Oh, good. I mean, this is cool
Yeah.
stuff, man.
Yep. Yep. No, and it's exciting and it's pretty cool. I mean, dude, even rugby guys who play well some of these feeder teams, maybe get $50 a week or show up. Dude, 25 grand, you win a tryout thing.
I get
That's
I
not
guarantee
that's
I
not
guarantee you
bad.
there's a bunch of guys on Major League Rugby which looks like it's collapsing in the
Yeah.
US. That 25 grand is probably more than they get paid through a whole year in Major League Rugby for some of these guys,
Yeah.
right? For one
So
night. One night of work. Not
yeah,
bad. Not bad
not
in my
bad at
opinion,
all.
you
Not bad
know?
at all. But it's
You know,
exciting. It's exciting.
yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm excited about that. So that is pretty cool. So with that being said, um, let's go to our next topic, and this one is gonna be fun. And this one, it's I happened to come across the Offside podcast. Um, Sapolu is that? Yeah,
Yeah.
Sapolu is on there, and we've had some interactions with this podcast in the past. And I just thought it was funny, and we're gonna watch. We'll see how much of the episode we actually watch, but there was a lot of activity online
Hmm.
between the Tongans, the Samoans,
And
and the
the
Kiwis, kind of
Maori,
going back and
Kiwis,
forth.
Maoris. Kiwis are
Yes.
like, we just say Kiwis and Maoris because Kiwis are like the non-Maoris and then Maoris, right? That's kind of like that New Zealand makeup,
Mm,
right? And they call them
yeah.
Kiwis.
So a lot of banter going back and forth. Obviously we were the butt of many jokes, um, because we didn't win a single game.
Yeah.
And
Well,
actually,
well, here's worse.
yeah,
We didn't even score a try in both games in the first half. That's how
yeah,
embarrassing they were.
yeah,
So
that,
it was
yeah.
it was we I think there's no fault that we were the butt of jokes. So it is what it is, because that was a product and performance that it was like shouldn't even been on the field, you know.
Yes.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So we did deserve that a little bit.
Mm,
But I will say this. We
yeah.
won for the coolest warm-up kit, warm-up slash captain's kit. The Versace on the floor. Did you see that, Masi?
Yes, I did see that. Yeah,
Sold
yeah.
out. It's sold out. It's like super popular. So at least
Okay.
we had some cool gear.
So we want some stuff off the field, eh? Okay.
Yes,
All
well,
right.
and that's the thing. We won a couple things. Let
What's
me
up?
pull it up. Um, MMT Captain's Run gear. Like it's sold out. People still want it, and supposedly it's gonna come back here in a couple weeks. They said early December is when
Okay.
it'll be
Okay.
available again because it is sold out. But it looks pretty cool. So that is pretty stylish, and the inspiration came from Adam Folua Blake when he went to like their annual awards for the NRL. He wore a shirt that was kind of like that. So
Hmm.
they kind of took that off and made it. And so doing really well. We that was a win, right? Not the win we
Okay.
wanted, but still a win. And
Yeah,
then I
it's
would
something.
say the Red Sea is still undefeated. The Red
Oh,
Sea,
that's a good point. Our fans are
you know,
always good at showing out. Yeah.
yeah. A lot of people were like, "Oh, but what happened to was it Brisbane?" I was like, "Dude, I think the population of Tongans in Brisbane are like 6,000, and it's
We
like 40,000 for like the
yes.
amount of Samoans." So it was
Yeah.
that was going to be tough for the Red Sea. However, when it came to Eden Park and in Auckland,
We showed out.
undisputed,
Yeah.
undisputed over there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that we would have had probably the Tongans have a there's a greater Tongan population in the Sydney area, New South Wales, I would say,
Hmm.
than Queensland. So
Yeah. So that those were a couple wins there, but can't argue with not not doing the greatest on the
no, the Dua, that's good that you brought this up because you know, those are the wins, and I'm glad. Like I didn't know, I had no idea that this attire was selling out. So I guess that's really good. The other thing that was good, the fans, unfortunate the product on the field did not meet the expectation because the fans came out, and it's not easy to get to the stadiums and the pay and
Mhm.
park and everything. So fans always showed out. So yeah, very very interesting. Maybe we should, maybe before we go to there, hopefully, because the other thing that probably really needs to get dealt with, and maybe Wolf that can really help his reputation, something needs to get sorted out with the whole board because they're not using Mate Maatonga. I know all the
No.
fans are saying that they're using just Tonga 13 because there is still a dispute with the connection, and probably that's another thing that's affecting the whole, maybe the performance and the coaching staff, because right now Christian Wolf and we don't even know who else is running that team. There is really no connection back to Tonga and having a say on how things are run. So, to me, I'm not a fan of Christian Wolf, but if he wanted to really improve and care about Tonga, in my opinion, we need to fix that relationship because it still doesn't look good when it's promoted, when it doesn't say Mate Tonga. Mate Tonga is the icon of
Yeah.
that team. That's where it comes, and it doesn't look good when you just see Tonga and then the Roman numerals numbers 13 or whatever. It doesn't look good, and
Doesn't
that's
have the
a
same ring. Doesn't have the same ring.
yeah, that's a symptom of something bigger that's happening, that there were things are not things are not running properly, and maybe
No,
that's why we
and
need to perform well, and that's probably a reason why we don't know who are the staff that are working under Wolf that are should be held accountable with Ldks Gatoa winning out and play because he shouldn't be playing after that first concussion he had. So I don't know. That's just my thought. I just thought I'll just share that there, Dua. Before I don't know what's your thoughts there.
no, I agree, and we can look at the trend of the team, and they're not trending in the right direction,
Yeah.
right? Started off at a high, right? When they were actually the matematonga. But
Yes.
as time has gone, it's been a downward spiral. And it could be because of that lack of structure and accountability, something has to change. I,
Yeah.
you know, I I am less as confident to defend Wolfie after this two really poor performances. I was willing the first loss, I was like, okay, coming out flat,
Yeah.
right? Because you just came from Tonga. It's the first game. When was the last time there was an international game for the boys
Yeah.
to kind of get that gelling? But when they came out even flatter against
Samoa.
Samoa, I was like, dang, something is systemically wrong. And
Yeah.
then and then to we always talk about the risk that the players take,
Yeah.
right? We always talked about it, but now we see it in the flesh with Kato as he's out for 2026. Don't know if he's going to
Yeah.
get
He
paid,
won't play a game.
right? Like I said, I don't know if that means he's not getting paid. So he's going to lose out on money. His value as a player is now at question, right? He's going to have to, his stock is going to be at risk. He's going to have to, if he comes back in 2027, he's going to have to prove that he's still the same athlete as he was before the
Yeah.
injury. And so, I
Yeah.
mean, these are the things, and we're getting to the point where you owe it to the players. They're already sacrificing a lot. You
Yeah.
have to give them some level of stability, some level of structure. And then the next thing is you owe it to the fans, right?
Mm.
The thing that I love about the Red Sea after the Kiwi game,
Mm-hmm.
the Kiwis love the Tongan fans.
Yeah.
They came out and it's like, we love them. They're the best. And they're like, whenever they're not playing the Kiwis, I'm a Mate Maatonga fan, right?
Mm.
That's not what happened when Samoa played against the Kiwis. It actually got worse, right? They actually started to hate each other, which is kind of the ironic thing about what we're going to look at. But that's what was like, that's what makes the Red Sea special, right?
Mm.
They stayed for the whole game,
Mm-hmm.
right? They were singing, they were enjoying themselves even when we weren't doing well,
Even
right?
though they were getting hammered and pummeled
Boom.
to the ground. It was embarrassing. They were still
One
there.
could That's what I was going to say. In a sense it was embarrassing, right? Like if Christian Wolf doesn't go back and say we need to make significant changes for the World Cup, it's going to be embarrassing at the World Cup,
Mm.
right? So
Mhm.
something's got to change there. I agree. I think they owe it to the players, they owe it to the fans, and right now, so far as
Hopefully they
I'm
sort it out.
concerned, they haven't been able to show that they're able to self-regulate and self-regulate
Yeah.
themselves. You know.
Yeah.
So okay. So coming back to our friends on the Offside Show, want to just kind of listen a little bit to
Okay.
what they're experiencing, right? Because you got to. I mean, I think it's important that because we even got some hate on our social media about like, oh, you guys are still sour about getting pummeled by the Toa Samoa, rightfully so. But
Yeah.
however, I would like to remind all of our Samoan brothers and sisters, just like there is no Tu'imanua and all the other Tuiana and stuff without a Tuitonga and the Tongan Empire, there is no Toa Samoa if there is no Matema Tonga. And that's just
Mm.
the reality. If there was no Jason Taumalolo and Andrew Fifita and that whole team, because it was those two started it, but that whole team, they started something that Payne Haas would not be playing
Mm.
for Toa Samoa if it wasn't for that. Like this is something that I think, hey, that's something. It's not trying to make a comeback. It's just reality. Just looking at the history and how things happened. That's just a reality. Any
Yep.
thoughts, Masi, before I play this video?
No, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Lots to get stuck into
Yo.
this week. Um, but I guess we need to address what's happening online.
Sorry, it's a bit hot in here. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
I love it.
It's a bit hot.
I
Sorry.
love it.
Here we go.
That might have been the
It's a bit
first
hot.
time
Why
you
are you
ever
being so
wore a
humble?
Toa
Whoa,
Samoa.
whoa, whoa. No, what?
Yeah.
What are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
It's hot. Jeez, it's hot.
Let's get into
Oh,
it.
sorry.
We have to wrap up all this online beef. It's been really
Not the
interesting
online beef.
Online beef.
This will all
Yeah, let's
make
just jump
sense
into it.
in a
Post-
little bit, guys.
Pacific Cup. It's kind of unearthed a lot of intrusive thoughts and feelings from Samoans to Tongans to Maoris and back.
Mm.
I've seen a lot of it. I've been the recipient of some, and I've also been the deliverer of many more, especially on Sean Johnson's page. But your
Not me.
thoughts- what's been happening on your page, Jules?
Oh,
What are your
bro.
thoughts?
It's nearly a week since the last Pacific Cup game, and I'm still blocking people from my page, bro. It's
Stop
crazy,
blocking
man.
people.
And like we weren't even at the game. We didn't even boo anyone, and like everyone's involved.
Mhm.
It's crazy, bro. Like what's
So, just for context, a lot of our US viewers may not be as up to date on it, but when Samoa played against the Kiwis, when the Kiwis did their haka, there was booing going
It was
on.
loud. It was loud.
Well, and
It
that's
was
the
loud.
thing. It was loud. So what I find interesting is they're going to try and play it down like it was 50 people. No. When you can hear it
Yes.
booed, it's not just 50 people. You could make an argument it was at least a third of the crowd.
You hear it.
Probably
If you,
more.
yeah. If you can hear it through
Yeah.
your TV, there's thousands of people who are booing. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It ain't no small thing
Yeah.
to do that. So
So that offended a lot of Kiwis. And so that there's a lot of beef on that. So that's what they're referring to.
happening? Yeah, I even did a video, saying I didn't boo. I would tell people not to boo. I would never boo. I love the haka, and they're still coming for me, bro. Like it's just nonstop, man. So I think everything obviously all stemmed from the booing of the Māori haka
I don't think so.
by a few
Woo!
Samoans. No, well, yeah, well,
Especially, I want everybody to pay attention to Homeboy in the corner over here. Okay, this is going to be important. Okay, Homeboy in the corner here, who all of a sudden he's brave. He's brave now and wants confrontation. Right?
I thought he was.
Interesting.
I think the last time too he was an advocate for Maoris.
Yeah,
and
well,
everything.
that's
They
what
were
we're gonna get.
They
to,
were
right.
advocating for the Polynesian folks. For my, I'm just I'm just kind of spitting out. I don't have it the exact words. I'm just paraphrasing of our last interaction. So that's why, on principle, it looks like they shift, but when it's
Yeah.
turned on them.
Yes, and this Tapolu guy is at least like, oh, it's just a game. Homeboy over there is saying, no, this is in the blood. It's in the DNA. Like
Oh yeah,
we have to get this out. I was like, Shana, let us know. Let us please get it off your chest. What have the Maoris done to you? What have the Kiwis done to you to hurt you? This comes back, Masi, like you always said. This all comes from unresolved trauma. So what I'm going to say is, tell us the trauma. What kind of trauma are you feeling?
Interesting.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
I
don't
think it's
think so
unearthed
either.
a whole bunch of things that a lot of Maori have been. No, let me rephrase that. Some Maori have been wanting to say about Samoans for a long, long time,
Absolutely.
and they can use the vehicle of the victory of sport in doing so. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
And vice versa.
and vice versa.
I think
yeah.
a lot of Samoans have probably been waiting for an opportunity.
waiting for the victory in sports. When has the Toa Samoa ever beat the Kiwis?
I don't think they've won any game, any game yet.
So why is he saying they've been waiting for the victory? They're just all of a sudden, because the Kiwis beat the Toa Samoa, all of a sudden the Kiwis are coming out with the stuff. Like, wait a minute, you never beat the Kiwis, so all of a sudden it's coming out now. I found a little bit of hypocrisy kind of going on here. But yeah, I was like, oh, they've been waiting and using the vehicle of sport, winning in sports. It's like, dude, the All Blacks smash the Toa Samoa just like they smash I mean, the Ikaretahi.
Yeah,
This is not something new.
the Kiwi team, hey, because I
Yeah,
think Toa has beaten them a couple, 3 times at
twice.
least, twice, and
Yeah,
yeah, and the to me the big one was that World Cup. That's really what
yes. In the
that
playoffs,
20. Yeah,
they built. Oh, actually, yeah,
in the pool games. It was in those
yeah,
pool games,
yeah,
2017, when Tamalolo made the switch. We beat them right
yeah.
there.
So interesting, right? And then we
Mhm.
also beat them in the Pacific Championships
Last
last
year.
time,
Yeah.
right? To play Australia in the final. I just find it's
Me as
funny.
well.
I
I
just
mean, we
find
saw
some
that
things
when we
here
beat
funny.
Tonga.
Mm, yeah,
So,
it got messy.
what's the worst thing that's been said to you on your page, bro?
Oh, there's been heaps, bro. There's
Yeah.
been heaps. Obviously, fuck off back to the islands, you boogers, you coconuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of boring. We've heard that. A funny one was we Maori have enough money to buy Samoa and turn Samoa into a sugarcane plantation.
Yeah.
Getting creative, getting
Yeah,
creative.
yeah.
I find that one funny. We'll pick on the Maoris for a second. How about buy your land first before you go buy Samoa?
Yeah. No, no,
Okay,
and
our
this.
Maori people,
Yeah,
just before you go buy Samoa, let's start in the Waitangi area and start buying over there.
yeah, yeah. Well, and this is the thing, right? At least Samoans get to say on how they can carry out their affairs. Maoris, you listen to what the white man has to feed you, and you have to do it. So that's a difference. And I, to me, this is a simple, in my personal view, this is a simple argument. Samoa is always going to be a better position. And regarding the booing, man, me personally, I have no problem with it. Dua. To me, this is sports. This is a gladiator. This is our two villages. If you just want to look at that way, and we obviously have some Samoans that were playing on the New Zealand team. Hey, that's what their choice is. And if I was the head coach of Samoa, I would try to do some recruiting tools to hopefully get
Mhm.
them where it matters the most, the World Cup next year. To me, that's the pinnacle. These little games here, Pacific Championship, to me, they're just build-ups for the fan engagement and to prepare the players so they can have some familiarity
With the
with each other
primary goal
for
of World Cup.
World Cup. So the good news with our Tosa Moa fans is don't worry. Even though you guys made the championship, don't worry. The bigger fish is still there to go for. And if you can pull some of those Samoans on the Kiwis team to you, because man, they're ethnically, their Samoan ties are should be stronger. And I feel like in a World Cup that you can make history and be remembered forever, that's gonna
Mhm.
be a bigger deal, and hopefully that'll be a bigger draw. And then they can go back, for these like outside of World Cup years, go back playing for Australia or New Zealand, make your
Make
money
a
that
couple
way. But
bucks there, you know?
yes, but regarding and talking like what you said, Polynesians, man, Sam Samoans, I'd rather be a Samoan than a Maori. That's for a fact. You know, that's a
Why is that,
fact. I mean,
Mussy? What's the facts for your position?
the reason why Tua, and this is like not even close. I rather have a Samoan tell me what to do in my affairs, and then have uh, a full Caucasian or a full Chinese or a full Indian tell me a Maori what to do in my own land, right? In my own land, because you're like I said, you're the minority within your own land, and I rather
Yes.
I rather be Samoan through and through, just within our Polynesian context. Poly- Samoans have every right to boo. It's a game. They're
Yeah.
backing their team. Samoans were they have a different way of how they. It's almost like the games too. We talk about there's the Tongan way of doing the games or the Samoan
Yes.
way, and
Yes.
this is the Samoan way, and people
Yeah.
just need to catch up, right? Catch up, and this is how they do it. And to me, I do have some Samoan blood. I like seeing the boo on the Maori because I see it. I see it. Like I said, I have I have a stronger Samoan pool because, like I said, Samoa and Tonga, we were almost like we were just like villages. We are like one.
Yeah.
So if Matema Tonga is not in, easy peasy, I'm gonna cheer for the Samoans any day over the Maoris. And I see the Samoans, I see, because Polynesians, we are hierarchy. Your rank and stuff matters and how you function as a society. I see Samoa as the much older sibling than the Maori. So I like
Yes,
the
I
older
would agree.
brother. I would
Yeah.
see the older brother just booing the younger brother. Is like, just it's kind of intimidation and whatever that may be. So to me, I have no issues. It's the ones, and this is probably more sensitive, probably to the Maoris because, like I said, they've been colonized a lot longer. They're still colonized now. They probably a lot more sensitive. A lot of them are, if I had to choose, Maoris are a lot more woke than our Samoan brothers and sisters, so they could probably get a little bit more sensitive in that way, and maybe that's why they say lines like not even understanding they could buy the Samoa and turn it into a plantation when they know they can't even buy their own backyard or their own New Zealand back from the non-Maori. So that's just me right there, too. That's my 2 cents there for the our brothers here in the Offside podcast because I'm a I'm on that side of the pond, you would say.
I'm gonna look up something here. Um, I don't know which one. Which one is the Kiwis haka? Do they don't do the kamate one, right? They do something else.
No, so that the All Blacks with the Kamate, that's more of the union.
Yeah.
The league
Yeah.
Kiwis ones, they have their own.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Uh,
find it because I know
their,
the Kapa o Paong or Pango is also the All Blacks, right?
mm,
How Toa Kia Toa, is that the Kiwis one?
maybe. I'm not too familiar with the Kiwi one. But yeah, no, Tua, but that's just me. If I'm the head coach of Tosamoa, man, I'll be on that phone call trying to know those guys' personal numbers so you can send them a text and try to get their thoughts or try to know who their families are. You gotta be a perfect recruiter,
Yeah.
like that's what I'll be doing, man. That's what I'll be doing, trying
Yeah.
to hit those guys
The
on New Zealand because they're talented.
I'm trying to look it up because I'm interested to know what the words are uh,
Oh, okay,
in
interesting.
English. And the reason why I want to know what the words are in English is I agree with you. It booing is kind of oversensitive, right?
Mm,
Like you're out there doing a war dance, throwing a challenge to the other team. And I'm pretty sure they're not saying, let's be friends, let's hug and hold hands. They're probably saying stuff like, gonna cut you up, throw you in the ditch, right?
yes,
And then all
yes.
of a sudden, because the opposing team boos, oh, that's disrespectful. It's like, so should the Toa Samoa team be offended that you're saying not nice things to them
Mm,
before before the game starts? So I think that's kind of silly. I don't really have an issue with the booing.
yeah.
It's a little too soft, and I'm like, come on, guys.
Mm,
It's oh, it's sacred. It's like it's sacred, but unfortunately, our brothers and sisters, the Kiwis, are not even religious, right? So, like, what I mean, what's sacred? I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just kind of a little bit too much of maybe, like we said, unresolved trauma. You know,
Unresolved trauma. But yeah. Oh,
maybe that's
yeah.
the problem.
Mm.
So, interesting there. So let me
And yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Masi. You said you
No,
sounded like you were gonna say
yeah,
something.
I was gonna say with the whole trauma, and you know what? The only way to resolve trauma is a religion. So find a religion, my family. Find a religion to
Yes.
solve the trauma.
Yes. We'll give this a couple more minutes because it's getting the idea, right? The
Yeah.
basic idea is they're going into war mode and they're now blaming, they're now trying to accuse the Kiwis of they've always hated us. They never liked us in the first place. They're just terrible people. Especially homeboy sitting in the corner over there. And
Yeah.
let's give it a couple more minutes and then
Let's go.
we want to show them what the other side of the coin looks like, what they were saying just a few months ago,
Yeah.
right?
And then there was the one, just shut up and keep picking our fruit. So the fruit pickers, the Pacific Island fruit pickers, who are just minding their own business, picking fruit right now, catching strays. It's and it's just relentless. Like they're still going on about it, and it's crazy.
I think it says a lot more about all of the individuals than it does, because I mean, there's stupidity on both sides. We talked about. I mean, I was at the game, and all the Samoans that I looked at doing it were drunk. This is the game at Go Media Stadium. And I gave them the side eye because me and my brother, and they were like, really?
Not the side eye. Oh, Sale. My man was so offended. He gave them a side eye.
If I went to the game, he would have given me the side eye because I would join those guys in booing too. Because I mean, that's just me, and that's my Ha'amoa blood. I'm more that Samoan style way of doing the games. Eh? It's not the Maori style. It's not the Tongan style. This is the Ha'amoa style.
If I remember correctly, Fisher Harris was holding like a war club in his hand. You're gonna cry for getting booed while you're holding a war club? If that's the case, Kiwis, take the club and leave it at home. Leave that at home. Mussy, we have some breaking news.
What's up?
We have some breaking news from our viewers. Go ahead, Mussy. This one's important to you. Go ahead and read this one. Mussy.
All right, GT. I just got off the phone with Wolfie. I heard they lost the Pacific champs on purpose to fly under the radar and come in as underdogs for the World Cup. Don't tell anyone I told you. Oh, wow. GT. I like it. Now, I like that. Please take another full cup of kava.
You get a full bucket, GT, for this breaking news.
GT.
Hey, GT, can you send a text to Wolfie and say, can he fly under the radar and go home?
Go home and tell him to make the call that we can have a Tonga board now. We go back to Matema Tonga, not Tonga 13. Please, GT, tell him we don't want the commentators keep saying Tonga 13. We want Matema Tonga to represent us. Maro.
GT, that sounds funny. Just like Ben Smith, who started us today. My man came in hot, and then next minute, hey guys, I gotta go home. After Ben Smith asked for a new kava bowl, it's the guy who came up and said, hey, Palu, another bag. Once the bag's Palu, then all of a sudden, Wolfie goes, hey guys, I gotta go home.
Hey, I like the. Hey, you know what, GT? You are very positive, man. That means we got literally pulled the pants down and smacked in front of the stadium, and you still saw positive that he was doing this to go underdogs.
Yeah.
To get a better a pool, so we can get maybe easier teams to go to the playoffs with a healthier team.
Yeah. Okay, GT, when the pants got pulled down, there was no mahi. We were gonna say, oh, we have a red underwear. GT's gonna go. At least Wolfie had a MMT tattoo in red on his thigh. Malo GT for the breaking news.
That's funny. That's awesome. Malo GT.
Masi, don't worry. GT's got you. You gotta give Wolfie another chance, Masi.
Okay, all right. Do it to the death. Till we die. Yeah.
Except we can't matematonga. It's
Tonga
1-1-1.
Yeah. And we definitely played Tonga 13 style the first those two games. Definitely not a matematonga product.
Guys, this is stupid. But then the following week we talked about it on the podcast, and you brought up like a really interesting point about the what do you call it? The arena of sport, and that sometimes some of these things, because I was reading comments on social media about our podcasts, and then not necessarily the defense of the booing of the haka, but like what's the difference between people booing the haka and then in Parliament when they don't want haka done, or Maori things done there. Um, for me, it's like kind of simple because they've gone for a lot of Samoans, but it's like, what about the French people? That the 60,000 French people were at an All Blacks game that whistled the shit out of the
Hmm.
haka and the national anthem. What about the English people that they sing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot during the haka all the time?
Let me translate. They just hate the Samoans. That's what he's trying to say. Eh? That's what he's trying to say. It's like, feel sorry for us. We hate. I was like, dude, stop playing the victim. You should have just said, who cares if you don't like us booing? We
Yeah,
don't like losing. You don't like losing. It's part of playing the sport. If you don't
yeah,
like it, get off the field. Don't go to the
yeah.
game.
And
You
and
know?
this is an invitation to our Samoan brothers here. Mariner recorded there's some Samoan style, which is a little different than how Tongans played in certain games. This is how the Toa Samoa
Must
fans. This is how the Toa. You just gotta accept. There's like I said, there was thousands of fans who booed because I heard it through my TV, and you can only get to the TV speakers if there are thousands of people doing it. So
Must
obviously, the Samoans love to boo, and that's their way of engaging in entertainment. And this is
Yes.
just an
And
entertainment,
there's nothing
and just
wrong
take
with
it as
that.
that.
And
There's
there's
nothing
nothing
wrong.
wrong with that, right? Machi, you thought it was your TV. You heard it from the stadium all the way to Manurewa. You thought it was the TV. But I
Yay!
think it's important, Machi, kind of talk through that, right?
Mm,
Because we got attacked even by our Samoan brothers and sisters, right? In that one video. And I keep going back and forth whether we release it as an episode that
mhm.
I just torched our Samoan brother who attacked us for it. But this is a prime example, like you're saying. Explain to the viewers who haven't seen it that in William Mariner, the guy who lived in Tonga
Yep.
for 6-7 years, one of Finau's sons is coming from Samoa. He's gonna marry some girls there, and they have this sport of
Yes.
clubbing, fighting each other with clubs, and show them the difference. And I think this is the perfect example
Mhm.
how the blue ocean or whatever they're called, what is it? The blue wave?
Yep.
Blue wave. I think it's called the blue wave behaved and how the red sea
Yeah.
behaved. I think this is like almost a perfect parallel. Kind of
Yeah.
explain how the game went when they were trying to decide which rules and what's the difference between the rules.
Yes. So during this part of the story, of a documented story by William Mariner, who was in Habai, I believe, during this time with Finau Ulkalala. When he's there,
The
One of
wedding
Finau,
celebration.
yes,
Yeah.
Finau Ulkalala's sons, who was living in Upolu, I believe, but in Ha'amoa for sure, he comes down for a wedding. Obviously, he's coming with his entourage. A lot of his entourage are been living the Samoan style, the Ha'amoa style from Upolu,
Fasamoa.
Samoa way and how they do things. So when he comes, he's coming with some entourage of Ha'amoas. They come, they're preparing for the wedding. I think the wedding's already done. Now it's the games and entertainment. Today it's the dances that we perform. So they're doing dances. Then they're also doing a game, which is a club match, right? So
Combat
they're in
sport.
combat sport. So now they're in Ha'apai. Now they're having a discussion before they proceed to the games on which rules are we gonna play by, the Ha'amoa rules or the Tongan rules. So the Tongan rule is if you knock somebody off off their feet and on the ground, that's you. There's a winner and then there's a loser. The game stops there.
If they
The
don't get up, right?
If they don't get
If they
up, yes,
stay down and
stay
they're
down,
down, you're not allowed to
yes,
hit them. It's done. But if they get up, you let them get up and then you go again.
yes, yes. Or it's the Ha'amoa rules, which is you hit, and when somebody's off their feet that you club them down, you are allowed to stand on top of them and keep beating them as
And
long
boo
as they,
them, boo them,
yeah,
boo them.
yes, you can keep hitting them as long as they're not dead. But they said that what Mariner describes it as long as they have some part of their body that's still moving, the movie that you can still keep hitting them, but if they stop moving, then you stop. But you're allowed to beat them like crazy. So those are the rules, and this is I think you brought up too. These are the similarities of our ancient times coming to now, right? They're kind of being portrayed now, even in today. Tonga is very after they're very friendly. They're kind of like going along with the both teams, and they're just kind of enjoying the entertainment.
Yes.
Hamoa style is we want to
We want to
side, and
smack you.
we want to be involved, and we're gonna boo you and intimidate you before you even kick off that ball, and we're gonna keep doing it until you know cause too much frustration, or kind of you feel like you can't continue the game because
Yeah.
you're you're being um you're being booed on something you think that is sacred, right? So to
Yeah.
me, it's this is the Samoan way, a style of entertainment, and it goes way back. So I encourage our brothers here to read that story, because that would explain. You don't have to try to find reasons of,
Oh,
oh,
try
the
to
French
excuse
did it
like our
or the
homeboy
English
here.
did it.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like who cares what the French and the English did? This is what we do in Samoa.
yes, and that's how Samoans do it. So I would be, if I, and to me, like I said, I would cheer the Matematonga, but like I'm more of the Samoan way kind of style of saying I would be booing before they even
Masi,
got on the
Masi,
thing.
you're not gonna give the side eye. You're not gonna
No,
give the side eye. You're gonna be booing. If you
no,
were there, he
wait,
would have given you the side eye.
give the side eye. He probably was thinking, oh, you must not be Samoan enough or something. I don't know, man.
No,
But
and
yeah,
and
that's my
I
thoughts
think
there.
that's really important because this is the difference of they're taking the position of, oh, they just hate us.
Yeah.
Oh, they just want me to go back to Samoa. It's like, no, dude. If you understand that this is something that's in, see, they're taking a very, in my opinion, I want to see your thoughts, but they're taking a very Western academic woke perception of what happened,
Mm,
and that's how they're trying to explain it, which is nothing wrong with that. That's one way to look at the world. The Polynesian eyes, through Polynesian eyes, says no. This is a natural byproduct of thousands of years of culture and behavior, right?
mm, that's a good
Right?
point.
Like
Way to
like
put it.
what's
Good way to
nothing
put it.
for the Samoans for generations. What was the best part of that game? When the guy's on the ground and you're hitting him, they're like, this is the best part of the game. This is why
Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah,
Right? So that's why when they see the other team, they're like, boo. Right? That's the no, I'm here. I didn't come here to watch the haka. I
yeah.
came here to watch Toa Samoa smash your team.
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Right? That's something that is in the rules of engagement from the traditional perspective. You can even make the argument that's the Samoa way, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
Mm,
people might disagree. There's always different people who define and perceive the culture within the culture. But when you come to the Tongan side says, no, that's not
very
really in the
civil.
in the spirit
Yeah.
of the sport. The spirit of the sport is to have combat, right?
Mm,
That's where they see the entertainment. They don't necessarily see the entertainment in you hit the guy, he's having a seizure,
mm.
and because he's having a seizure, he's moving, and the Samoan rule says
Yeah.
he's still moving,
Moving.
and
You
the
can
more
keep
you beat
pounding it.
him,
Keep pounding him. Yeah. I mean, that's
yeah.
what Mariner wrote. Yeah. I mean, that's how they find their entertainment, and
Mm,
you like what you said to it. That's you can correlate that to the booing. Tonga just wants to focus. The haka is just part of the thing, but we're here for them to play and what they're gonna run against, and who's gonna make the more tries, or who's gonna be more spectacular in their
yeah.
planning, and who came prepared. Right.
That's what it's all about. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Even the Tongans didn't have anything wrong with that, right? Because when they came together and they said which rules, the Tongans were like, we'll do the Samoan rules. And they're probably saying, we'll do those rules because we've never done that. That's not what
And,
we follow. We want to
and,
try something new.
and and for me, it's more. I see, and I'm more of a more ways that I like to see the smash and beat them, because I like to be a winner, and I like to tell everybody in their face that I'm the winner, right? And that's the Samoan way, and that's my Ha'amoa blood,
Your Samoan
and I'm
side's a
like,
little strong on that one. That's why
yes,
you would.
yes,
So what I'm hearing from you is your Samoan side is pulling strong, but for Ediota and this other gentleman, their Tongan side is pulling stronger because they
Probably.
would have given the side eye. They would have been like,
Yes.
"What?"
Yeah.
They said,
Yeah.
"Hey, man, you went to the wrong game. You should have been watching the Red Sea.
Red
Their
Sea,
Tongan side is pulling stronger."
and I need to go to the Samoan side because I really want to join the Samoans booing the Kiwi Haka tour. Like I'm more of
Yes,
the I'm more of my Samoan brothers on. I like to boo because to me, because I always when the ref calls a bad call, you know what I do? I always say
boo.
boo to my team because that's more of my way, my Samoan blood there. So I'd rather be
Maalohi
a
ko
Team
nga haamoa
Samoa.
mashi. Eh?
Iyo, iyo. That's just
Eh.
me. That's just me and my personal taste.
Funny, funny. Anyways, we'll skip this. We want to go to another one because we need to get to the other parts of the show because we're coming
All
up
right.
on an hour here. But it gets hilarious because homeboy, Mr. Side Eye, he goes on and said, I went to Sean Johnson's page and I started attacking. I shut down all these Kiwis. Mr. Homeboy wanted to attack, right?
Mm.
But what I would like our viewers to experience is a couple months before he was, once we're warriors here,
Oh,
he wanted to educate you and me, Masi,
are we just gathering
about
the receipts here? Are these the
yeah.
receipts here?
These are some of the receipts. And
Okay.
I want our viewers to kind of see the difference. Um Let me see here. It says try sharing the screen again or restart your browser. Okay. It says I lost sound. So I'm going to stop
Okay.
sharing and then reshare just to make sure because it said I lost the sound. I don't want us to lose the sound here. But
Okay.
I want our viewers to see the difference between the position he's sharing here or earlier versus the position he was taking when he was their initial. Oh, it's already full screen. Is it already
Okay.
full screen?
Yeah, it does look like it is.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. So let's play this response to it.
Oh wow. Womp.
There was this other thing with we got sent this on our TikTok, and the Polynesian Eyes podcast. Do you want me to play this? Or should we
Yeah.
just talk about it?
Now play it for the.
Okay.
Yeah.
This got sent to us, and again, some Samoans, Musos from the US.
See, Masi, they could feel your Samoan blood and my Samoan blood was coming strong through the video.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who are talking
Oh,
about Maoris who
more.
neglect the Christian faith.
Yeah.
Again, very divisive.
The Maoris are
wait.
one of the few cultures that we have witnesses or accounts of the early Maoris having prophecies of Christianity coming. Basically saying there's a new religion coming, and that's the religion we need to embrace. So it was quite shocking to me when you hear people like this who say, you're not a real Maori, you've been colonized because she's Christian.
What if there was a way to know?
Pause right there, Masi. What's your thoughts so far? Remember, I heard the word divisive.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. We were too divisive. What are your thoughts
Well,
so far?
yeah. No, I mean, this is it was, it was. I think this is just a good topic to discuss. Like I said, the colonization part is. I think it's just within our. I think most people within Polynesia, and I would say like that really kind of understand of us of our unity was our Samoan brothers and sisters, Fiji, right? The ones who have been really, maybe Futuna, Uvea, even though they're under the because of their isolation, they're still under the French, but they still understand our historical ties to Tongatapu, and a lot of our other brothers and sisters, especially in Hawaii, probably Tahiti, but Tahiti, there's some still acknowledgement there, and then up to the New Zealand Maori. Remember, you're heavily colonized, so the understanding of us being a union and being able to, we were engaged with each other. A lot of those stories have kind of evaporated because of colonization, but Tonga. right? Tonga, we were able to still maintain those stories because we were never colonized. Samoa was able to get their sovereignty back, so they were able to save a lot of their oral histories and stuff. So we're we're not too sensitive when we talk about, like I said, we're all brothers and sisters here. So when we explain, like, because you're religious, and if you say, and it's not the correct term saying Western religion, because the Christianities is just anyone who just follows Christ. When you believe that Christ just came down this earth and atoned and died for all of our sins so that we can return to heaven. That's all you're saying, and that's not a Western or a white man religion. That's for everybody who just takes that idea and want to practice their faith, and doesn't mean they're less Maori or whatever. And usually are heavy colonized folks because they were heavily colonized, and the victim their victim mentality is very influenced, and they're emotionally influenced, that they blame the white man and associate white man religion to Christianity, saying for their fall, for whatever happened, when they're using the wrong lens to dive into their history. Because I think I mentioned it maybe over time, but a lot of the history is just within their own people making the mistakes that a lot of these things happen. So that's just my thoughts there, and that's where that sensitivity that a lot of people don't understand. Particularly our brothers and sisters from Hawaii and in New Zealand, the Maori,
Yeah,
because
it's a lot more traumatic for them
yes,
because it was pretty bad. I mean, what happened to them was pretty devastating.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Well, and that's what I'm trying to say. But they're causing their blame and their trauma towards the wrong reasons. In my idea, there needs to be some kind of level of understanding on some of your own folks. We don't, when we have family affairs, do we look, I'm not looking at anyone else that's caused that family. It's more like, what did our family members do that made our family get to this situation?
yeah.
Right? What
How
are
do
the
we
choices
learn
that,
and how do we move on?
what are the choices that some of our family members do to make us get to the situation that we have to work 5 times harder to get them out of this whole family situation, right? What did that person's choices do? And there's not enough thoughts going on some of our ancestors that have made, when I say our Polynesian ancestors, some of the leadership that have made that led to lands being taken away and overtaken. There's not enough eyes to kind of dig up and show that it's been very 90% on the other side of the, which is
Yeah.
easier. It's easier to blame a non-Polynesian, like I said. Very easy to
No.
blame a non-Polynesian for your issues.
Yeah, 100%. And the two things I'd add to that, we invite the listeners and the viewers, if you haven't seen our episode on the Morioris, that's a prime example, right? To just
Mhm.
think it was just the Palangis, no, right? What the Maoris did to the Moriori, very, very difficult to hear that history and what happened there. And then also just listen to what Kamehameha did to Kahekiri and those guys that resisted him on the Battle of Nuuanu. Guys,
Mm,
people were thrown off cliffs, killed and
mm.
thrown off cliffs because they didn't want to submit to Kamehameha. And Kamehameha said, no, you submit or die. It's
Yep,
just a reality of life,
yep. Blown.
unfortunately, but it
There
is
were,
what it is.
yeah. Kamehameha used cannons close range and blow them up in bits. Like it was. I mean, we were brutal too, man.
Yeah, no,
you know.
100%. 100%. Hey, just real quick here, we'll answer this for Lenny. Fiji was not colonized by demand. I thought they were asked the British to colonize them. And he also says, I'm pretty sure Fiji asked UK twice to be colonized. The first time the UK disagreed, second time they said yes.
Mm,
Just the short answer for that, no one wants to be colonized. The question you
mm.
have to ask is, why didn't Taco Bell
They
want
asked,
to be colonized? And
and
there's
we
some
delved into
interesting
that.
things.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
there's some interesting things there. Is number one, Taco Bell looked like he was losing power. So he could have been trying to make a deal where
Consolidate. Yeah.
he could get some level of influence under the British crown as the self-proclaimed king of Fiji. And one of the reasons why he was able to self-proclaim the king of Fiji is because Ma'afu, the Tongan prince, helped him get to that role. And then there's a lot of rumors that Takumbao was, he was afraid of the other parts of Fiji, but also of Maafu. Eventually, Maafu, within a 20-year span, was cutting almost halfway through all of Fiji. And one could make the argument, if you maintain that momentum, Fiji could have been under Maafu. And so Takumbao's like, well, I'd rather be under the British crown where I can negotiate power rather than being under Maafu or anyone else. So
well, and Maafu, his first plan was to get all the lands. And remember, the northern island, that the second biggest island that he had parts of, was to declare it for Tonga under Taufa'ahau. That was his first, but Taufa'ahau didn't want to, maybe smart on Taufa'ahau the first, not to recognize it, because that would have probably led to colonization, because the British, Takumbao wanted to have some authority, political authority, and gave it up to the British. So that's there's a lot of details that goes to they didn't ask the British to be colonized for no reason. It was a political play.
So
my way of thinking.
What I'm hearing is, in Fiji, not only did Fiji ask to be colonized by England, Fiji also asked to be colonized by Tonga. How hilarious is that? Because you're right? Laufili Tonga, when he saw that, he probably heard that Takumbao is trying to secede, right, to the UK. So Maafu writes to Po the First and say, hey, I want to secede my areas of authority to the Kingdom of Tonga. And
correct.
Tupou the First said no. England said no first, and then the second time said yes. So, Lenny, one could make the argument that it wasn't just England that was looking to cede Fiji, Tonga. It was a deal that was on Tonga's table as well, but Tonga said no to that. So, anyways, interesting. We'll come
Very
back.
interesting.
I just thought that
good
was
question.
funny.
Good question.
Iyo, malo. Few cultures that we have witnesses or accounts of the early Maoris having prophecies of Christianity coming. Basically saying there's a new religion coming, and that's the religion we need to embrace. So it was quite shocking to me when you hear people like this who say, you're not a real Maori, you've been colonized because she's Christian. Basically, what they're saying is, because Christianity was introduced from Westerners, then therefore you've been colonized. So the basic idea is this: anything from the West is bad. Education's bad, cell phone bad, TV
don't wear any
bad.
clothes. Don't wear any clothes.
don't do any of those things. You better be living off the land. The problem is there aren't any more real Maoris, and if there is, they ain't part of the discussion. When you speak the English language, this has been already colonized, right? Where do you draw the line, right? Like, that's the problem. Kind of a little bit out of context.
Stop it there.
Trash.
What?
Hey.
We're
Like
someone language week.
I don't know what's going on with the internet.
Did Trump cancel Elon Musk's subsidies?
We were having bad internet issues, huh?
Did he do a
We'll try to skip on.
Gym hurts.
Oh my!
Just do Tai
goodness.
Chi. It heals.
This is getting out of control.
Man,
YouTube's gotta make that dollar.
That's a shot. I'm sorry, Usos. I'm playing. I'm one this week. I enjoy my calo.
So we missed it a little bit, but he's like, looks like that guy likes his in and out. Oh no, Five Guys. I was like, look, this is side eye. This is side eye over here. You know, he's sitting over there saying, this guy likes his Five Guys, and it's like, and he likes calo. I think that was a double shot. I think we discussed, like, oh, he likes his food and he doesn't eat Polynesian food. He just eats fast food. Interesting.
And I think we did touch on it too. I think between you and I, we probably planted enough talo that he probably hasn't eaten enough talo if we planted how much we've done. Like That's how funny it is.
Yes. I've eaten more Five Guys than him, that's for sure. And I've eaten Five Guys in more countries than him. I've eaten Five Guys in China, for Pete's sake. I've planted more talo. I've picked more lu. I've eaten more talo. Sorry. So be mindful there.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But yeah, this is a
What do you think the point of that
we'll
comment
try and
of the
skip. We're
fast
trying
food?
to move.
Is it because I look
here.
like I'm a muscle guy, or is it saying because?
Not the muscle guy?
So let's come back. Let's come back.
this conversation will be ongoing forever. I think also as we kind of expand into this world, also leave the Maoris alone, bro.
Oi, son, oi, way, Mussy, what happened here?
I guess he shouldn't talk about the booing because you gotta leave him alone. So that means he's got to go against his own Samoans. Then he's got to go against because we
He
shouldn't have.
did give
been
them the side eye. He said, "I gave those
No,
guys side eye."
he said they were drunk. He said they were all drunk and booing, and he gave the side eye. See, look. He said so. This whole topic shouldn't have happened because you shouldn't talk about Maori and leave them alone unless you only have positive things to talk. But if you just want to talk about an issue, you can't talk about it at all. You gotta
and obviously in his heart he knew the Maoris hated him apparently, and the only reason why the Maoris were not attacking him was because the Maoris hadn't beat the Toa Samoa yet. Now that the Toa Samoa lost, now the true colors are coming out. Interesting, huh?
It's just random as well. Like
random. It's random.
It's just rubbish. Like the whole don't wear any t-shirts. Like that's not a Western thing. Like you can even search it up. That wasn't invented by
Mussy. I think you already responded, but
yeah.
You're talking about the style t-shirt we're talking about now, right? That's the industrialized.
The mass production, even the sweatshirt, from this reaction video, that's all through industrialization from the West of mass producing products. I mean, I think it started off in the UK, in England specifically.
Yeah.
So, and even the kind of modern wear of jeans and everything that everyone wears, shoes that go with your clothing, the hat, even my friend Sapolo here is wearing, that's all through Western innovation and Western industrialization that every world relies on for their economic prosperity. So I mean, that's what I'm just kind of saying. Of course, everyone had their traditional wear
clothing,
clothing, but their style is not relevant to today. A lot of that style is what modern styles of industrialization that we use today. That's all.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Darlings. It's so crazy, man. Like there's a lot of chat is based on stuff that people don't even know properly. You know, and and like you said, you just said it, like this is gonna go on forever.
Mussy, you're the one who made that comment. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I gotta clarify.
You gotta clarify
that. The modern clothing we're wearing has been industrial.
The carpet when they talk about it. I do it.
Let's get to at the rate we're going. We gotta plow through this. We gotta breathe life into this podcast.
Starlink was failing us that night.
Starlink was
failing us.
Oh yeah,
right, man. I can see why they're so hurt because they're Christians, obviously.
Yeah,
you know,
the Tongan.
Are they Tongans? Say my lord.
Oh, finally, someone who knows what's going on. Mr. Side Eye didn't know what was going on, but someone with some knowledge.
So it looks like the Uso from the back should have maybe take the first reaction because he actually knew the people
what was going on.
Who were talking on. Looks like it was just a reaction of at least understanding some of the context, so you can have a better, let's just say, response to it. So it looks like the Uso in the back should have reacted because he provided the correct context.
Yeah. This guy, maybe he was too busy eating kalo, didn't look at the videos and listen to the video. He was too much eating too much kalo.
Did he eat it with coconut, or did he eat it with just boiling
Mm.
water? What do
I
you think?
think he was eating ufivao and he thought it was a kalo. he thought he
That's
was eating a
probably
ufi pit. Ufi.
yeah. That's a good explanation.
Interesting. Good,
Mm.
good.
Oh,
Yeah, the Tongans, but
Because
I mean,
you got a fellow
the,
Uso. At least
The
he could
uncolonized
definitely
Tongans, eh?
watch it.
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, I actually enjoy the topic when
Yep.
they
I
talk about it,
do.
and
Oh.
I do acknowledge Polynesian eyes bringing up a different perspective,
Yep.
different angles and stuff,
Mari and
and I
Toko.
think that's probably why
Mm.
we got our attention.
Mm.
So that's probably why they wanted someone to, help them, educate them, or whatsoever. So they pretty much open to any idea that comes in. So yeah, so not to take away from what we're trying to talk about, but it's just acknowledging
Yeah.
what they want to say, and
Okay.
that's why we got this podcast. We can talk about
Mm.
what we disagree with
Yeah.
and stuff.
Mm.
So yeah,
See the difference between wisdom and foolishness?
Mm. The
Eh?
guy was
Like, you see
no.
the
That's what
difference?
happened. That's what happened. Maybe the other guy ate ufivao. The other guy actually ate kalo because he gave correct context.
Yeah.
That's what
Yes.
happened. The other guy thought it was kalo, but it's just ufivao. He ate. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And that's there's other parts in here we won't get into too much, where they're like, put respect on the Kiwis, right? Put respect on the name. That's why I
Maori.
put I
Mm.
put in the topic here, give Kiwis the respect, because the Maoris are the ones who put Polynesian culture on the
On the map.
map, right? And the what is it, that the AOC of the Maoris who did the haka
Yeah.
in the parliament. It's like boo boo, and then we're like, wait a second. Maybe in New Zealand, I think you brought up the point, Masi. Maybe in New Zealand and a few areas that had a huge impact, but in America, I'm pretty sure the Rock, Troy Polamalu, all these
Yeah.
Samoan people are having a bigger impact on
Not
giving exposure for the Polynesian culture than a
yes.
haka in the New Zealand parliament. Nothing against New Zealand, but it's
Yeah.
New Zealand.
Yes.
I
Well,
mean,
and that's
it's New Zealand. It's yeah.
well, and that's and see, and that's the thing, right? If you and he already, we already heard it when he says you got to leave them alone. When you leave, you got to have, like I said, if we're all Polynesians, you would want a relative of yours to speak on you because, of course, we were one people. We have same characteristics and cultures, so we can give different ideas. If you, because that's such a closed mind view. If you just have people within your own village can only tell you what you can do wrong when you are actually doing something wrong and hurtful. If you don't hear it from an outside perspective,
Yeah.
and when I say outside, it's a relative from a village that's covered by the ocean, you know, borders. What we would say,
Yes.
you know what I mean? It's better to listen to another fellow Polynesian than right, somebody from what, Delhi. That's probably because there's a lot of people, Indians that are moving to New Zealand that are having influence, or the Caucasians been having a lot of influence here in New Zealand. I'd rather listen to a Polynesian relative and hear their perspective, even though you may not like it, but it's good to hear it from a Polynesian perspective than somebody who's non-Polynesian. That's just my view. And when you just start putting barriers that leave Maoris alone and just let them be on their own, that means we can't talk about any. We don't see them as Polynesians. Then we're gonna create a new category for them. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just my
Yeah.
thought there.
No, and this is also important. Why, like you said, as Polynesians, we can talk to each other because, dude, we can understand each other, right? Like you're
Yes.
saying, I can look at the Ha'amoa's boo from our traditional perspective. It's like, you know
Yes.
what? That makes sense. That
Yes.
fits with how Ha'amoa likes their entertainment,
Hmm.
right? But instead, you see, this is why I wanted to bring this up. It's two things. Number one, to remind Mr. Kalo I eat more Kalo than him, but also to say it's like, this is what happens when you don't understand what your ancestors have given you, what your ancestors have brought to the table. you're so willing to give a side eye and be like, you guys need to stop that. When it's like, no,
Mm.
actually, it's not that big of a deal. Not only is it a sporting event, okay, but dude, it fits in with what you have been inheriting from your ancestors. This is the Samoa. Hit them when they're on the ground. That's the booing. That's what is
Yeah.
viewed as entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that's something that's really important, and it also ties into the second half of our program is why it's important to understand your history, and you don't have to be perfect, but at least have a willingness to look at who and what you are and how you behave and what you've inherited from the perspective of your culture and your ancestors, so you can at least try and understand how and why others behave the way they behave, and let you know what you have. What's the gift that your
Mm.
ancestors have given you, so you can understand it, so that you know how to engage in the modern world and try to
Yes.
make decisions on what am I willing to concede and where am I not willing to concede. But go ahead to you, Masi, before we go to some of the comments here.
No, I think you put it perfectly, Tua. People need to try to understand our Polynesian history everywhere, because that's how Tonga was created. We were actually got the constitution of what we use today in Tonga from Hawaii, because Hawaii was actually trying to apply it before the whole took over of the island to make it a territory of the US. So we we were able to learn from each other's history to kind of preserve or grow and be better. And that's why it's important for us to know all our history so that we can apply it to the modern world and how to navigate certain challenges and understanding our mistakes of maybe our past ancestors have done, and try to recognize and correct them and be better, instead of always pointing the fingers for our problems for any little thing and not having the blame for us to react better and adapting better to our changing environment that's changing even faster as we
Faster.
speak. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is a perfect segue to our next topic. And want to thank Sione Siketi for
Oh,
the kava bag.
malo maukava,
Malo
Johnny.
malo mau
Oh,
kava Sione. We're gonna take this. We're gonna palu anu
oh,
bucket. We're gonna get that ready. So appreciate that, and we're gonna drink that digital kava over the next part of the show. So
oh.
malo abito Sione, malo e mau kava. All right. So too bad Ben Smith left. Ben Smith left before we can kind of dive into after he accused the royal family of sucking Tonga dry and being insufferable for the people. But
Yeah.
our next thing is, and this is really important, and Masi, you can kind of give some context here. You just came back from Tonga. There's elections going on. Kind of share your quick little experience, what you saw, and then we're gonna go into a discussion on the history of the government structure in Tonga and how we should navigate this new idea of democracy in the modern world and competing political ideas with the context of understanding the history and the structure of the Tongan government over thousands of years. But go ahead, Mr. Aotearoa.
Awesome. So Tonga is constructed at the moment with its government as a constitutional monarchy, right? That's what it really the Constitution is the highest law of the land. So if government or politicians were to pass any laws that was in conflict with the Constitution of Tonga, the Constitution overrides that law. So that's kind of how Tonga functions, and the monarchy is still there as the head of government, not just as an imagery thing like we do. Like the UK is currently functioning with its monarchy at the moment. They actually have political structures that they have to um, approve appointees. That is done by the prime minister. So since 2010, the people have the largest majority of elected officials, representatives, which is
Mm,
17. at the moment. The noblemen's or noble, yeah, noblemen's. There's been
Mhm.
a noble woman. I think Shiuri Kutapu was the first noble woman to go in as or voted in as a people representative. Maybe has there been? I think it's been always men, huh?
Yeah,
The
just because the
you know,
titles go through the men. So
titles go through the
yeah.
royal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then there's nine nobles that are represented, and they're elected just within the nobles that have titles, and also people who are in charge also have estates. So that's the noblemen. So there's nine of them, 17 people's representatives, and then there's the king with his council, and that's how they kind of function all together. But since 2010, the prime minister is appointed by the elected officials, both noblemen and the people's representatives. Before it was appointed by the king, so the king has gave up that power to the people. So that's kind of the democracy application of that process. And the elections just finished in Tonga. Not new changes. There's only a few, but a lot of the big players of
Still
government
same.
is still
Still same for
still
the
the
most
same.
part.
So hopefully Tonga can be more united. Right now, it's kind of divided. With and this is amongst the people representatives, is pretty divided because there's a lot of let's just say buddy kind of guys that trying to get in, maybe not for the best of the country, because some of them are probably are doing it because of personal gain or maybe just imagery or what it is, but maybe not the best fit for a certain portfolio, I would say. So that's kind of where it's at the moment. So it'll be very interesting to see who becomes prime minister
Prime Minister.
going forward. We shall see what happens, and I just wish Tonga the best. And the big topic is people keep talking about democracy, and I've always said democracy has never been good for indigenous people. That's just me. Democratic run
Mm.
countries have never been good has never been good to indigenous people, and Tonga just, in my understanding, just need to be careful because democracy it's it's only good for because when you apply democracy to its full extent, whether you're a Tongan or a non-Tongan, a non-Tongan will have the same right as a Tongan, right? And that's
Mhm.
you're gonna be overpopulated and overrun with that philosophy. So we need to be careful with democracy because, like I said, people with when you're not the majority of a certain race, you're gonna be overrun, and they have the same rights as you as a Tongan. Other There's people with bigger accounts than you that can
Yeah, a
use
lot
that
more
leverage,
money. Yep.
a lot more money than you that can get influence if you allow the law to let them do it. And also, democracy really, to my understanding, democracy also values a lot of economic activity, like in a fast pace, right?
Yeah.
I'm more of, because of Tonga's situation, we gradually develop, right, infrastructure and all of that to gain and grow our economic um, our economic accounts or our economic activity within the country, and I like to do it gradually. Democracy really expedites that process because you wanna get laborers from anywhere in the country that are willing to come, and when you get laborers, they have this, then the democracy applies to them because they have the same votes, rights as everyone, if you're native to the land, as anybody, and then you lose your influence that way. Perfect example. I just found out that within England, or London, the city of London,
London. Yeah.
more Indians own property or real estate than the Englishmen, and
Yeah.
that's because of that's because
Massive.
of democracy. So to me, democracy, we have to be very, very careful, because like I said, democracy is not good to indigenous people. That's just me.
No,
I like
100%,
yes,
100%.
yeah.
You know how
So I don't know. That's just me.
no, that's no. Appreciate that context. That's really important because that's what we're gonna build to. And
Yeah.
we have a. Let's go to this real quick. Just a couple people here. We have Enox. He says Malo Taulava tapping in from East Oakland, California. Enox, welcome, welcome. And
Malo.
we also have Priscilla TV. She's joining in from Auckland. Welcome in, Priscilla.
Malo.
And Enox and Priscilla, we want to thank Shione for the digital kava bag he threw in. He's
Yeah.
sponsoring our next kava bowl. So
Yes,
malo,
sir.
malo
Malo,
Shione.
yeah.
So one of the things that I just kind of want to throw real quick before we look at this table, looking at Masi, is number one, pure democracies do not work well. And it this kind of sums up like what you're saying. A pure democracy means just by pure vote of the people, will of the people, right? And the reason why it doesn't work well is because pure democracy is like 3 wolves and 1 lamb sitting at the table deciding what's for dinner. Right? Of course, it's like that. That's what democracy is like. The majority, the 3 wolves who are the majority, they're all going to say, you know what we're having for dinner? We're having lamb. The 1 lamb who's there, that lamb is going to be for dinner. So pure democracies don't work. Many people say America is a democracy. It's not. It's a republic, constitutional republic. That's something very different because the democracy, the pure democracy, is put in check by a constitution, right?
Yeah.
So just because the majority of the people vote for something in the United States, that's not the case that it means it's legal because the Constitution guarantees and protects certain rights.
Yes. Well,
Go ahead.
the election process. No, I was going to add on the election process with the states. What is it? There's the
Electoral college. Yes.
It's not by
it's
the
not by
biggest
popular
cities.
vote.
Yes.
It's not by popular vote.
That's
And
against
it's
the democracy.
specifically to prevent the cities of just the pure population on determining who's president. They cut each state to have a certain number of represented or votes that count, and it forces the candidates. Because if not, if you didn't have that, the candidates would just go to California and New York and maybe Texas. They would forget about the rest of the country because all the biggest cities are in there, and you could win the popular vote just with that. The last thing I wanted to kind of throw in there is how true it is. This is how you know how true that stat is about more Indians owning real estate in London. When I went through the drive-through of McDonald's in England, and obviously didn't know England doesn't have ranch. So we're going to the drive-through, and I ask for ranch in the drive-through, and they go, "What?" It's like ranch. It's like, what is it? It's a sauce to, for the fries. They say, "Oh, we don't have ranch." They go, "What do you have?" "Oh, we have ketchup and sweet curry sauce." And I was like, "What?" It was like, "Yeah." So
Sweet
literally
curry.
in England, you go through McDonald's, you can't get ranch.
No,
but you can get sweet curry sauce, which is an example.
and I was gonna say, usually if there's no ranch, you know what's the second choice that's popular?
What?
Would be a sweet and sour. I mean, that's crazy.
Yes.
They wouldn't offer that option and then just go straight to the sweet chili, sweet curry.
Sweet curry.
That's crazy. Hey,
So-
you got to serve the majority over there. They're the ones
Give the
buying.
people what they want. Give the people what they want. Right? So obviously that stuck out to me. I took the sweet curry sauce because I never had it before. And it tastes exactly as they said. Imagine a curry that's sweet. And that's what you had. I wasn't a big fan. I ate one sauce and then I was done. But anyways, so we're going to jump and show this real quick. And we're going to walk through this and kind of talk through it so we can see the history of government in Tonga. And I do want to preface it with this. When we say the government in Tonga, all the way until about maybe the early 1700s, this was the government for all of Polynesia. So this is very applicable to Polynesia in general, but it's just a little bit more close to home in Tonga because it was the seat of power for the Polynesian Empire, right? So I had our digital assistant here. I had to do some
Gronk.
editing with Grok. Told Grok to
Grok.
do some stuff for us. So Grok built this table for us. So we appreciate Grok, the assistant here, for putting it together. So we have 3 columns. We have the period, the time period here on the left. We have the government structure type. We just gave it some names. And then just a quick description. Okay. These descriptions may be needed to be edited live. Sorry, we don't have a ton of time. This is the side gig. This is the passion project. So there may be some errors. We'll do verbal edits as we go. But you want to read the first one, Mussy?
Yes, sir.
Just that first row.
All right. 600 BC, 450 AD. That one, Dua?
Yeah.
Okay. Tangaloa dynasty. Highly centralized, sacred political monarchy led by the human king Tangaloa, divinely chosen and guided by the supreme deity Hikudeo, ruling triumvirate
Triumvirate.
triumvirate
I
of
think,
3 human men. Tangaloa, paramount, Maui, and Haamea Taula, strictly patriarchal succession.
Okay. So really what this is trying to cover, we don't know how far back the
Yeah.
Tangaloa rule goes. I just said roughly 600 BC to 450, just gave it about 1,000 years, even though it could have gone much earlier than 600 BC. And it could have ended much earlier than 450 AD, because there's a real chance that Tuitonga goes deeper than 450 AD. But really, this is still a centralized power under a king, right? Kingly line, Tangaloa, who also has 2 other very powerful family units or society sectors of Maui and the Taula or Haamea. So those were like, we can think of it the equivalent of the Tuitonga and the Farefa. It was Tangaloa and Maui and the Haamea clans. Those were kind of like the structure, and I think that's why Grok uses this word right here, try, meaning it was structured with 3. There were 2 additional legs to the stool. But that's for at least 1,000 years. That's what the Tongan structural of government was like. Anything to add to that, Mussy? Any thoughts on that?
No, it's interesting. I do think there is a possibility that, Tangaloa could have been longer, especially with we did dive into it a little bit with the weathering, was it weathering pattern of the Ha'amonga, of its weathering down, that from what they say, it seems to be 50,000. So, I just thought I just add on to that makes me believe that it could have been longer, just because of that data point, until we have more data points that come out. But
yeah, and that's a very interesting. And I think, a lot of people said, "Oh, this guy doesn't know." It's like, it's a very logical. He just said, "Hey, look, if we look at the weathering of limestone over time, and you look at the Ha'amonga, where the horizontal piece, and you look at the weathering on the side," he says it's at least 10,000 years of weathering minimum.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
So we take the position, like you're mentioning, Masi, just so the viewers and listeners understand. We are not of the party that says Momo and Tuitatui built the Ha'amonga.
Yeah.
We take the position that the Ha'amonga predated the Tuitonga, Aho Etu, and that when Momo and Tuitatui moved the Tuitonga settlement to where New Toa is now, where the Ha'amonga is, the Ha'amonga was already there, and they just happened to put their settlement near there.
Correct.
All right, I'll read the next one, Masi, and then kind of give any thoughts or anything you want to add to it. So around 450 AD to 1470 AD is the early Tuitonga dynasty, centralized sacred political monarchy founded when Hikuleo instructed Tangaloa to install his son Aho Etu as the first human Tuitonga. Tuitonga held both spiritual and temporal authority over the entire archipelago, strictly patriarchal inheritance.
Yeah, I think this is the this is the part where Tuitonga is doing everything, because we kind of talk about over time that Tuitonga divides its responsibility being the sacred title holder and also the day-to-day running of the empire or the Polynesian nation. So during this is the strictly the Tuitonga side, and then obviously over time, like we'll touch on, that he divides up the responsibility. But Ao Eitu, I think that's a out of all the Tuitongas, everyone is pretty confident that Ao Eitu is the first
First.
Tuitonga holder. That marks the transition from the Tangaloa title holder going to changing its name, going to the Tuitonga, as Ao Eitu being the first holder of it. So that's my two thoughts there. Tua, I don't know if you have anything to add or maybe
Yeah,
corrections or
just
anything.
no, just one thing to add in there for a video later on. So in Tongan culture, or from Tangaloa to the Tuitonga, the reason why Tangaloa had to create a new title was because, and this is for stability, this is for foresight, the oldest son gets the Tangaloa title, right? Like that's the
Mhm.
inheritance of the oldest son.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if he were to take it and give it to the younger son, that's future dispute between those two. So
Hmm.
what they do is, and this is how it's done even through to Tonga today.
Yeah.
When a line, when the succession power goes to a different line, you give the new line a new title name,
Mm.
right? And it changes. It's no longer Tangaloa. It's now Tu'iperehake. I mean, it's eventually became the Tu'iperehake, but I think
Mm.
I forgot what the initial.
What, Tui
Uh,
Fareua or something?
yes,
No.
Tu'ifareua. It becomes the
That's yeah.
Tu'ifareua that eventually changed its name again later on to the
Tuperehake.
Tu'iperehake. So the
Mm.
Tu'iperehake today, in theory, is the inheritor or the line from the oldest
Tangaloa
Tangaloa heir,
of how
right?
they've been doing it. Yes.
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 And this will be important because there's a video we're going to watch about Tatu Iperehake. He's getting interviewed. So this is important to understand. When this guy is speaking, you have to put it in the context of he is coming from the line of the oldest Tangaloa line, right?
Mm.
But then the last Tangaloa Etu Matupua, he says, okay, the Tangaloa line is going to continue, but it's going to be the Tu'ifareua, and it's going to continue separate. We're creating a new line called the Tu'itonga. That is where all the power, the spiritual and the political power, the pinnacle is going to be with the Tu'itonga. That's going to be the head. So it's a fresh start, right? There's a new line of authority there, just for context for the viewers.
Mm.
Then we'll come down. I'll read the. Oh no, Masi, your turn, right?
I got it.
Want to read the
Yep.
1470?
Yes. 1470 to 1799. Tuitonga plus Tui Hatagalawa. Dual system. Tuitonga retained sacred authority. Tui Hatagalawa created to handle temporal, political, and military affairs. Power remained centralized but split between the two lines. Tua?
Yes. So this is really important, just for some context for everyone. There's I think at least three assassinations of Tuitongas before it comes to Kaulfo Nuafekai.
Mm.
After he kills the assassins, he obviously is like, guys, we got to do something different, right? We have three assassinations, instability. So he comes up with a new idea. We're going to create a new line, and we're going to split the temporal, political, and administrative power to the Tu'ihatakalaua, who's his younger brother, and the Tu'itonga is going to maintain the spiritual power, which is considered the higher, the
Correct.
greater power, but it's soft power. The Tu'itonga's role shifts to a soft power, and that the hard power or the direct power goes to the Tu'ihatakalaua. And then Kaulfo Nuafekai relocates the Tu'itonga residents to Ha'amoa
Correct.
for a few hundred years. Now,
Yes.
very important, there are a lot of people, and we just saw this idea pop up again. There are many who say that Tu'ihatakalaua usurped power from the Tu'itonga and kick the Tuitonga out. That was not the case,
Yeah.
right? And from Daniela Fale, his position is the Tuitonga Kaulufonua Fekai knew that the only way that this new line would take root is if
Yeah.
the Tuitonga relocated, because if not, if the Tuitonga remained on Tongatapu, no one would go to the Tuihatagalaua and take that line seriously. So
Yeah.
removing of the Tuitonga to Ha'amoa was to ensure that the Tuihatagalaua has an opportunity to flourish. And
Yes.
so that happens. They allow the Tuihatagalaua to solely reside on Tongatapu with power for 3 to 400 years, 2 to 300 years.
Yeah.
Anything there, Masi, you want to add?
Yes. I also want to add on the importance and the significance of the Tuitonga moving to Ha'amoa, because we'll talk about it later, but because more people would go to the Tuitonga, which the Tuikarapolu had some issues of like just having, you know, offsprings or people high enough rank to kind of keep it going. This allowed, like you said, the Tui Hatagalawa to have the kind of, let's just say, the first pickings within Tonga to kind of, you know, have establish its authority, and also getting the, let's just say, highest rank women around Tonga Tapu and whoever else to kind of secure future line of the Tui Hatagalawa to because right, it takes multiple generations to kind of have behaviors. You're changing certain behaviors because now you're having a new authority. There's certain customs that you kind of need multiple generations to kind of develop before you kind of take it seriously. And after that, what, 5 generations of Tuitonga being moving the residents to Ha'amoa, that they was able to establish the Tui Hatagalawa multiple lines, and then eventually creating a new line later on. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in
No,
there.
absolutely. I'll read the next one, Masi. 1799, 1865, Tuikanukupolu line. The Tuikanukupolu line gradually gains effective political and military control, but does not eclipse the older lines. Repeated succession disputes, I don't know if it's disputes, but instability of the line, civil wars caused
Hmm.
chronic instability, dissolution of the Tuihatakalaua title around the 1820s and 30s, and progressive marginalization of the Tuitonga. I don't know if
Mm,
marginalization is the right word, but the instability of the empire, because the
yeah.
Tuitonga is soft power, it makes things more unstable. But go ahead, Masi, want to take a swing at this?
Yes. Well, and I just because the Tui Hatagalawa still continues on. And remember, we did share it. I think it was Daniela Fale Daniel mentioned that a lot of the Tui Hatagalawa title holders who were on the waiting were actually carrying the Tui Kanugupolu was being installed for the sake of saving that title to do the work. And then when their time was up regarding the person who passed away, the Tui Hatagalawa, then they'll go back and become the Tui Hatagalawa, and then they will find somebody else to replace them. So during, I think our the history, a lot of people are not understanding that there was a lot of back and forth, especially between the Tui Hatagalawa and the Tui Kanupolu going back and forth, because the Tui, I think the problem was Tui Kanupolu had a very difficult time because now you're having two older titles existing in Tongatapu, and a lot of the, let's just say, high ranked women and more women probably going to get status elevated through the Tui Hatagalawa and the Tui Tonga, and the Tui Kanupolu was having, maybe it was an issue because they were only having like one son and they would die, and then it was very difficult to get somebody to that was high ranked to take up the title, which is lower, and they rather wait to take a higher title within the Tui Tonga or the Tui Hatagalawa. So there was a lot of, like
Mhm.
what you mentioned, the instability, but the lack of what. Hopefully, that's why we create this broadcast, that there will be more understanding that there was a lot of people going between
Oh, Masi, you still there? Maybe running into. Hopefully, it's not me that having the internet connection issues here. But what I'll do while Masi gets reconnected here real quick is what I find interesting, like Masi was mentioning this. There's this idea that just like the Tui Hatakalawa usurped the Tui Tonga, there's this other idea that the Tui Kanukupolu then usurps power from the Tui Hatakalawa, but the reality is the Tui Hatakalawa installs one of his sons, to be the Tui Kanukupolu, right?
Back now.
And
Sorry.
oh no, you're good. And I was just sharing, Masi, that same idea about the Tui Hatakalawa usurping the Tui Tonga. A lot of people have the same idea that the Tui Kanukupolu usurped the Tui Hatakalawa,
Yes,
but that is not the case. Kind of like what you're saying. There were many times the Tui Kanukupolu would eventually give up the throne and go and become the Tui Hatakalawa, because he was actually the heir for the Tui Hatakalawa, but because of the instability of the Tui Kanukupolu, they would take care of that title until it was their time to become the Tui Hatakalawa. But continue,
correct.
Masi.
Yeah, no, and I was just gonna say, and a lot of it, to my understanding, that we discussed earlier, was they were not having enough offspring from like high ranked women,
Yeah.
right? And that was the reason why there was like no one was high ranked enough to take out the title. So the only way to have somebody take on the lesser title was somebody from higher rank, which was a Tui Tonga that was in waiting, or a Tui Hatakalawa that was in waiting. So that was the problem when you have three high rank, Tui Kanupolo being the lesser of the higher ranks, having difficulty to, like I said, it's a new title and kind of carry out the affairs, because it takes multiple generations to know how to exercise the political authority and become and act like a big dog in a Polynesian nation kind of thing, and running the daily affairs of the Polynesian nation. So that's just my thoughts there. The reason why there was a lot of instability. So
Yeah. This just an interesting observation. We're not going to dive into it too much, but this is a Tui Kanukupolo challenge that even exists to today. Right? And we'll look at maybe a short video of Queen Salote, but the Tui Kanukupolo to this day is still going through these challenges. Right? And one could even make the argument it's actually the Tui Hatakalawa. But we'll look at Queen Salote. She was in a very precarious spot when she was coming in. But yeah, very, very interesting time. 1831, the Vava'u Code is written, right? So kind of the first steps towards a constitution, a code of law. And then 1845. Is it my turn or your turn to read? Oh, did I lose you, Masi? Oh, yeah. I think the Offside podcast is sabotaging Mr. Atearoa's internet connection.
yeah, sorry about that. New Zealand internet only goes when it gets close to dark. New Zealand stops working. Things start falling down.
I think Mr. Side Eye and Mr. Carlo is over there chewing on your internet connection. I couldn't remember.
So bear with me.
Yeah.
Bear with me, friends.
I couldn't remember if it was your turn or my turn to read.
I can go ahead and read this one.
Okay.
It's my turn. So 1845, Kingdom of Tonga formally declared. Taufa'ahau defeats rivals and is proclaimed King George Dupo I in a historic and voluntary act. The last Tui Tonga, Laufiri Tonga, declares the Tui Tonga line ends with him, and without coercion bestows the sacred title Taumafakawa upon Tupo I, elevating him above the mere Ilokava status of previous Tui Kanukpolo. This unprecedented transfer of sacred mana unified the three royal lines under one ruler, brought long-term stability and legitimacy to Tupo I's throne during a period of civil war and external threat, and helped Tonga resist full colonization. Tua?
Yeah, just really quick summary. This is something I think is severely overlooked, and I haven't heard anybody really talk about it besides us on this podcast. Laufiri Tonga's wisdom, humility, and forward thinking to pretty much do what the last Tangaloa Etu Matupua did to make a Tuitonga, the same idea that was done to provide stability to split the political and the religious or spiritual power, was another visionary idea by Laufiri Tonga to say we need to come up with a new structure to provide stability, because you mentioned it, Masi, the biggest driver of colonization was division amongst all the other islands. Because they couldn't get unified, that's the reason why they got colonized. And Laufiri Tonga this is what happens when you have almost 3,000 years of the same family and the same civilization. There is certain things that experience is the only thing that can teach you these things. And the Tongan / Polynesian Empire, for what, 3,000 years, over 2,000 years of existence, is able to anticipate these things, not just through Tupou the First, but once again, the Tuitonga, the soft power.
Yeah.
People underestimate the influence of the soft power. And what was the soft power of the Tuitonga? That was the glue that provided some level of unity and unifying power, that without that, Tupou the First could not do what he did, because they're always at power. Getting power is relatively easy when you compare it to maintaining power. That's the hard part, right? It's difficult to get power, but the hard part is to maintain power. And so that is the gift that Laufiri Tonga gives the Tongan people as his parting gift of, we're going to unify, we're going to formalize a taumafakava for Taufa'ahau, Tupou the First, to legitimize him. Because when he has a taumafakava, all the nobles know what the taumafakava is and what it symbolizes. It's in effect a crowning ceremony of, you are the undisputed champion and leader of Tonga when you have a taumafakava at your disposal. And this is not something you win in a battle. This is not something that you go and buy from the store. Just like Aho Etu gets it as a gift, just like the first Tu'i Hatakalaua gets it as a gift, just like the first Tu'i Kanukupolu gets it as a gift. Once again, to regain that power, it's a gift. You cannot, there are certain things that you obtain through a gift, and the only way to maintain that gift is you have to understand it's a gift, you have to appreciate it as a gift, and you have to treat it as something that you cannot buy or trade for. If that makes sense, Masi, but I'll stop there and kind of see if you have anything to add there.
No, I mean, I just clarify, because some people did, some people are not too sure that the Tuikang Polu was just Ilocava until giving the, let's just say, transfer of authority of how to have a Taumafakawa from the Tuitonga to Tuikang Polu. That's like a um, cultural validation of the transfer of power amongst within Tonga, right? And throughout Polynesia, you would say, you know, and that's one thing I did learn new, Tua, and I always share this with you, and you've shared it with me, that the more we've discussed and dive into the details of Polynesian history and Laufiri Tonga's important role of self-sacrificing himself of his title so that it can be a better future. And that is something very unique. Even when I talk about it today, is very unique, because he already has a big following, and if he wanted to cause trouble to fight for more, for actually, you can say he's just trying to keep his authority, what he's always been entitled to him from the beginning, and that would have caused enough chaos to be colonized. But having the bigger vision to self-sacrifice the title to have this happen, to make what Tonga is today, to be a self-free governed state from the beginning, it's pretty cool. So that's just my addition there.
Yeah, 100%. We will kind of skim through these real quick. 1862 Emancipation Edict.
Okay.
The commoners freed from forced labor. and arbitrary chiefly power. If I had time to edit this, I would shift this a little bit and more saying liberating of from serfdom.
Yes, that's the correct.
Yes, it's a misunderstanding to say it was, coerced or forced labor. The populations were able to move in between chiefs, and they would
Yes,
trade their labor. The problem is they couldn't own property. There was no
yes,
private property.
or harvest their own labor from what they labor.
Yes.
It's whatever. Yes, yeah,
Yeah, because if you don't have land, then your labor doesn't mean anything.
yeah,
Right? Because when you labor on the land, it belongs to the guy who owns the land.
correct.
What Upo the First was able to do was no, you can have private property. You can be given a land so that your labor is something you can have, because they
Correct.
were free to move around, and it's well documented by the missionaries. This is why they would be the same family fighting each other from
Yeah,
different villages, because
they're
one
different chiefs.
yes, one part of the family says we like that chief, we're going to go there. The other family says, well, we like this chief, we're going to go over there, and then they could change in between and go around, right?
Yeah.
So I would just change that a little bit, but didn't have time. The first constitution in 1875, first constitution is probably the incorrect word. The original constitution was installed. There's been some what do they call it, amendments,
Yeah,
right, in there. And then 1900 to 1970, the British protectorate state, treaty of friendship. And I think that's an important thing. Want to give Mussy your perspective of why this is important, that it's called a treaty, and this understanding, and it was and what that entailed, just so that the viewers kind of understand that.
yeah. There's a lot of misunderstanding and misconception with this treaty because people are presuming that this was the form of colonization that the British had over Tonga, kind of making us that we were colonized. It's like, no, treaty of friendship was two parties agreeing on the external affairs, that Tonga would allow the British to handle Tonga's external affairs while Tonga would still maintain its internal. And if Tonga didn't like what was happening that was being handled by the British, they could change their minds and change the treaty, because this was a partnership that was agreed by the Tongan government and the British government. So this was a negotiated treaty, like how treaties are signed today between countries, of having an
Two
understanding,
independent countries.
two
Yep.
independent countries understanding of what to proceed in the future with their, with their treaty that they signed. So that's the thing. People always get that mixed up. So that's my thoughts there. Unless I missed something to it.
No, that's the way I understand it. And I think, the reason why this happened, Tonga gets into financial difficulty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they needed funding. And this is no different than when you take a loan from the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had this in certain contracts that I've done at work in construction, been on the builder side and on the owner side. When you go to the bank and say, hey, I'm getting into bankruptcy, I need money to be funded, sometimes the bank will say, yes, we'll fund it to you, but because we view you as high risk, we're going to only give it to you if you let my accountant be seated with your accountants, and you do not spend money unless my accountant has given you the green light to do it. You're still an independent business. You still operate and make the 99% of the decisions, but unless we all agree on how you spend this money, we're not going to give you the funds to run it. And if you want the money, these are the contract rules, which is the treaty. Once again, you could break the rules, right? Like the company could say, after they get the money, they'd be like, well, forget that. We're not going to do it. Then the bank says, okay, we're freezing the money. We're not going to pay off your debts. You're on your own.
Good
So
point.
it's a business transaction.
Gotcha.
So 1970, we peel away from the protectorate status. 1970s to 2005, increasing calls for reduction of royal and noble power. 2006 triggered major political crisis, accelerated reform. 2008-2009, King voluntarily relinquishes most executive powers, but this is because there were riots. I think that's something that's important to remember. And we won't talk about it here, but in the video with Tatu Ipelehake is when we'll bring this up.
Okay.
There's a lot of unknowns on what caused the riots, who caused the riots, and what was going on. That's an interesting discussion that we can have later on. November 4th, 2010, constitutional monarchy with democratic parliament. King becomes largely ceremonial. This is not accurate.
Yeah.
He still has powers, but he gave up certain very important powers like picking the prime minister. And right, and also
and cabinet, correct. Yeah.
And cabinet and the ability to, make laws. Right now, Parliament is the one that passes laws. The king cannot independently make a law. Then 2010 to now, instability, kind of what you gave earlier in the beginning. And then the current government is King Tupo VI, Prime Minister Isaac Eke, and constitutional monarchy. I want to go back to Queen Salote to talk about that a little bit because I think that's important context. But any thoughts to add to that, Masi?
No. It's good to see that there's 33 hereditary nobles retain land rights and political representation. So I wasn't too sure how many noble titles there were in Tonga. So that's good to know. And only 9 out of that 33 can represent in Parliament. So I just wanted to add on to that.
Yes. So, real quick before we go into the open general discussion there, I want to share this because there's something that that's important to really discuss here, and the challenges, like we mentioned, for whatever reason, the Tuikanu Kupolu has just been, I don't want to say cursed, but it's been challenged with stability and providing an heir, right?
Yes.
That for whatever reason that has been the case. And I want to walk through here that this is also true even up till now and coming up, especially to Queen Salote, and even a little bit to now, because it hasn't gone father to son for two kings now, right? Went from Tupo the Fourth to the oldest son, Tupo the Fifth, then from Tupo the Fifth to Tupo the Sixth. Oh, just one line. And then Queen Salote wasn't father to son.
Yeah.
Right. And then from Tupo the First to Tupo the Second wasn't father to son. It was grandfather to grandson. So there's been some interesting dynamics there. But the one I really want to focus on is with Queen Salote. And we'll start with here. We'll just kind of go through the videos here, or the pictures. So she was born on March 13th, 1900, right? This is right around the protectorate time, right? Tonga's in financial instability. Tupo II in the palace in Tonga. These are her parents, and they have one child, right? And well, that's her paternal grandmother. Well, just kind of I don't know why she was in exile. So Salote Mafleo Pilolevu of Tonga, Tongan princess in exile. I don't know the deal behind that.
That's interesting.
That's what this says. But then it says Queen Salote III survived the new disease brought through European contact. 80% of the Tongan population was nearly wiped out.
Wow, that's
from
crazy.
19th century and reduced to 10,000 by the early 20th century. Due to the disease through European contact.
That's assuming that's the measles epidemic and all that.
And this is actually probably what killed her mother. Right? And it says, sadly, her mother, Queen Consort Lavinia Veyongo Fotu, died of tuberculosis in 1902, leaving Queen Salote without a mother at the age of 2.
Wow.
So she was kind of adopted, tutored by this lady, Reverend Lesieri Tonga. She's the distant cousin of King George Tupo II. She helped mold Queen Salote to become one of the greatest queens of Tonga had ever seen. Well, really the only real queen of Tonga. to protect Queen Salote Tupo III from being killed. This is important. Like, there is still, like we said, it's easier to get to power, way more difficult to maintain power, right?
Yeah.
Don't know how serious the threat is of killing,
Ooh.
but you got to remember there's still the Tuikanu Kupolu. People could, Laufini Tonga has made his choice,
Mm,
but his descendants may not be on board completely,
mm.
right? So there's
Yes.
still some
Well,
instability there.
I want to share some of that. I think because this is when a lot of the instability starts happening, right? Because
Yeah.
Dubois the First was very respected for his vision, military power, his navigation skills, and and being able to. He had a lot of respect of the Tuitonga holders and all the Tuihadalawa. So people kind of fell on board with that, right? Then you get
Yeah.
diluted.
Visionary man.
Yes, you get diluted, right? Now you're saying it wasn't his son, becomes his grandson, and to my understanding, Tua, did you, this just sparked a memory of what I've kind of heard of the oral history. Can when we go through Queen Salote's history, I believe before the 2006 riot or burning of Nucalofa, there was another burning before that, and it was during this time. I believe I don't know the exact date
Oh, really?
because 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 Dupo the remember Dupo the second he married Queen Salote's wife that wasn't the first choice. He was
No.
supposed to marry somebody else, which was closer to the Tungi and more of
Yes,
the
it brought
Hahake side.
more prestige to the line. But his
Correct,
favorite was Queen Salote's mother. And as you can see, he doesn't have a last name of what you would consider the elite Tongan
correct,
names.
correct. And because they didn't like who they married, it's my understanding it was our people from mostly from Mua, but all of Hahake that came that didn't like that actually caused some chaos and some burning of buildings in Nuku'alofa. That's some of the things that I've heard. Um, to us, we can look more into that, but I don't know if you've kind of heard the same thing around those lines because now they're starting to be a little. It's starting to be a little bit chaotic
Mm.
when he sends Salote away. I don't know, and that's what makes Salote so important that he had no one. She had no one else but to marry a Tungi. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So
So
that's just
here's
my
the,
yeah.
the information, Masi. So it
Let's
says
go.
here,
Let's
yes,
go.
there were significant riots in Nuku'alofa Tonga in the early 20th century. The most notable and well-documented incident is in 1916,
Mm.
Nuku'alofa riot. I did not know this, Masi. I didn't know
Yeah,
this.
this is some of the things
Sometimes,
that I've heard. I didn't know the details.
mm, sometimes referred to as 1916 uprising or the anti-missionary riot. Tonga at the time was a constitutional monarchy under King George II, but real power was increasingly held by the powerful Wesleyan missionary establishment in Tongan and the Tongan nobility. Many commoners felt oppressed by heavy church tithes, forced labor, and the dominance of the church and the chiefs in government.
And who was in who was the prime minister during that time? Do you know? I
No.
pretty sh- I'm pretty sure it was. I think it was Shashi Tuguaho. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, Tua. I'm just kind of speaking out of the loop here, but you know what I mean. To my understanding, it was from people from Mua and Hahake that did not like what was happening and was part of the burning
Yeah.
stuff in Nuku'alofa.
Well, and you have to remember the Wesleyan Church is heavily tied to the Tupo family,
Mm, mm,
right?
mm.
So this is the interesting dynamics. So
Yeah,
you can see that the Chiefs, there's at the end of the day, there's instability. You even to the point where Queen Salote is sent overseas because there's concern for her safety,
correct.
right? And then there's riots, like you're mentioning. So power is a fragile thing, man.
Yes.
Very fragile. Very interesting, man. I appreciate you bringing that up. Anything else, Masi?
No, that just sparked when I think when you were reading it, it was like exiled, and I was like, it was probably exiled because I remember just hearing oral history that people from Mua and Hake did not like the Salote's mother, and they didn't like the the Tupo the second marrying the second choice.
Mm.
Should have been the first one, which was much higher rank that came from it was closer
And
related
that's
to the Tui
mm,
Hatagalawa family and Tui Tonga side. That's
very
just my
interesting.
understanding. Yeah,
Mm.
but we can delve into it maybe the more we have information about it. But that's just some
Yeah.
of the things that I've heard.
No, that's very interesting. Then it goes here. She was exiled to New Zealand for 5 years, where her father took a second wife to try and produce a male heir.
Hmm.
Right? Because once again, the stability of the line in traditional Tongan perspective is it's patriarchal. It's father
Yeah,
to son,
yeah,
father
that's
to
the
son.
way. Yeah,
As the Tongan parliament and all the royal noble chiefs desperately wanted. And honestly, I guarantee you, the people who opposed Tupo the second, or Tupo the second, didn't want
hmm,
him to have a male heir
hmm,
because there's people in waiting. They say no, they want the chaos. There's
hmm.
always people creating chaos, and this is something I think everybody needs to remember. There are people who are saying they're the solution, but they may also be causing the chaos,
Yeah.
right? So the
What do you
chiefs
call
that
it?
are, yeah,
I was gonna say self-manufactured chaos. There's a
yes,
that's a thing.
it's
That's a
real.
thing. Yeah,
It's real, right?
yeah,
Because if everything's going great, you're not looking to change leadership. But when you
yeah.
want to change in leadership, you got to create problems.
Mm,
So, next step. Her father, King George II, failed to produce a legitimate male heir from two marriages. These disappointed the Tongan parliament and all the royal noble chiefs. Before her father died, Queen Salote returned from exile and he managed to secure her throne by marrying her to the most powerful Tongan noble chieftain,
yeah,
Prince Tungi Mairefihi, at the age of 17.
yeah.
I didn't realize it was that young. But Masi, please explain why Tungi Mairefihi is the most powerful chief at that time.
Because
Where does Tungi come from?
he's the inherit holder of the traditional title Tui Hatagalawa title, which is the second most powerful title under the Tui Tonga. And over time, because Tupo the first, which is the Tupo the first, King George, became the legitimate leader of kind of all of Tonga. Over time, they changed the name, like what you mentioned, of the Tangaloa title, changing to the Tui Whareua, then to the Tui Perehake. It's the same thing with what happened here, but it's the same family line. It's to from Tui Hatagalawa to Tungi, but it's the same family line, which is considered the most powerful that had an heir. I don't know where the Tuitonga title holder with the line with the I know it's Kalani Valu, what happened there, but during this time it was the Tungi title
Yeah.
being the most
Well,
powerful.
and the thing is you got to remember historically the Tuikanukupolu is infamous for instability.
Yes.
Right? That's what the Tuikanukupolu since its inception has been plagued with instability of the line, right? And in sometimes, you know, inequipped leadership that they didn't want that line to continue. The Tungi or the Hatakalawa, what are they known for? Stability. They're known for the long line. And the reason why you have the Tuitonga line, the reason why you could make the argument this is the most powerful line, because that's the line that traditionally has military, political,
Yeah.
administrative authority above the Tuikanukupolo line. So the Tuitonga, even if you brought in the Tuitonga line, though above the Tuihatakalaua, but the separation of power says no, the most powerful political, military,
Yes.
administrative title is the Tuihatakalaua title. The Tuitonga title is more powerful, but it's a spiritual
Correct.
role, not a political role, not a military role. And it hasn't been that way for thousands of years. So
Mhm.
when they see the Tuihatakalaua line, right, like you were saying, Queen Salote had no option. It's like
Yeah.
The only way to give her a chance to be successful, the Tui Kanukupolu line basically defaults back to the Tui Hatakalawa. And you could make the argument, though they still carry the quote unquote Tui Kanukupolu. I have never gone into anything where the Tupo line has said, we're pushing the Tui Kanukupolu as the title we push. They have it, but they usually say the House of Tupo. That's why it's Tupo the first, Tupo the second. Yes, they're Tui Kanukupolus, but they're like creating, I think.
Yes, it makes sense because with
yeah,
what happened in this time of history. Yeah.
yes. And it's quite interesting, and you could make the argument that through bloodline and traditional thinking, it's the Tui Hatakalaua line that's running the country. But everybody likes to say Tui Kanukupolu. It's technically true, but in our traditional sense, it's the Tui Hatakalaua line that's running things. Any thoughts there, Masi?
This a thought just came to my head, and Tapube to the Tupo the second, but like maybe he noticed he made a mistake with what he did. He chose love over country, and then with his daughter, he kind of rectified that mistake and says, I don't know. They had a discussion. He's like, don't. This is for country and provide stability. This is the only choice. And being, of leadership, you do things to self. And it's I don't people we talk like it's easy, but like Dupo the first married somebody else that wasn't the choice for bringing stability, because obviously we just read 1916 Nuku'alofa got burned because other things, and some noble families were not happy, and like that I've heard that's the other time that Nuku'alofa was burnt down. And look, I feel like this is my personal opinion. Dupo the first maybe corrected his first mistake just talking to his daughter, saying in order to bring stability and better for the country, it's not for love, it's for the stability of country. You got to do this. So that's what I think. I'm just thinking out loud, Tua, but that's just me there.
No, absolutely. And they couldn't have picked a better guy, from what I understand about this Tungi. He, Queen Salote was out, her passion, a lot of it was in the music and in the history and in the culture.
Poetry, yeah.
From what the little bit I understand, the guy who was doing all the political maneuvering and trying to set up the family for success was this guy, leveraging his title, his political influence to help his wife be successful, and then also to provide stability to the line. And one could make the argument that the quote unquote Tui Kanukupolu line as it stands now is more stable than it's probably been in, I don't know, 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just fascinating to kind of, when you look at this, when we look at politics and we look at history, it's a complex thing. Everybody wants to just touch on, the Tui Kanukupolu, and they're great. They did a lot of great things. But when you look at the inner working, it's fascinating to me that these two lines came together. And basically, the two lines that oversaw political, military, administrative power came together. And that's where the current royal family is now, is a combination of those two lines. And it's fascinating to kind of look at the history behind that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of round it out, she became the first queen regent in her right to rule the Kingdom of Tonga in 1918. So just 2 years after the riots, unopposed by the Tongan government, and all the royal noble chiefs accepted her.
Malo,
right?
malo tungi mailefi.
Exactly. Right. And this is Masi, and this is what's fascinating. All of this instability, all of this stuff, and no civil war, and no full-on bloodshed. That's miraculous. Because it looks like that's where everything was heading until that's how important marriages are.
Yeah.
Right? This is how important these things are. these are very important things to keep the unity and the stability of the nation. Says she
Yep.
protected her people from the outside world by stabilizing education within the kingdom, encouraging and preserving the Tongan cultures, traditions, and customs. She's very beloved for that.
Yep.
She was a writer and author of many traditional Tongan dance, songs, and love and poems. That seems to be her passion. It
Yes.
wasn't politics, but you
Yes.
can't go without the politics. And it seems to me Tungi was taking care of the internal politics
Yep.
and managing that. And it allowed her to take that role. Like many other South Pacific Island nations, Queen Talote supported the Allies during World War II by sending Tongan troops to battle against the Japanese in the Solomon Islands campaign, including Guadalcanal, alongside the Australians and the New Zealanders.
Hmm.
She brought Tonga to international attention when she attended 1953 coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in London. During the coronation process, it began to rain and the hoods were placed on the carriages in the procession. As Tongan custom dictates that one should not imitate the actions of one is honoring, she refused the hood and rode through the pouring rain in an open carriage, endearing herself to the spectator and to the British people. And that's the British people admiring Queen Salote. I mean, I think
Yeah.
the rest of it speaks for itself. Anything to add there, Masi?
No, I think you hit it right. I mean, she was definitely not into the political expertise on navigating the political sharks that were trying to go after her. But in order to have Tungi by her side, it was like a perfect couple because she was able to lean on her strength, which was, poetry and also exercising, like, she's known for like certain behaviors of humility, which is a huge Tongan characteristic that was exercised in front of thousands of people, and probably during that time a very powerful monarchy in England. And that even till today, that song is still being sung and danced to since that um, behavior shown by Queen Salote during that procession to Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth. So pretty, that was her strength, was the songs, poetry. That's what that she was known for. And then Dungi being able to handle the political stuff so that she can lean on her stuff that she was good at in songs, music, and showing Tongan characteristics of humility during her time of reign.
Excellent. So we took a very long journey.
Yeah.
Okay. To come to this video that we're going to watch. Okay. Now that we have an understanding of approximately 3,000 years, we've tried to condense 3,000 years into just over an hour. And now we find ourselves in the political environment that we're in now. And with that context, we're gonna play a video. We will probably have to stop it in between. I don't know if we might get hit with copyright. I don't know, but we'll try and
Okay.
stop it in between just to break it up a little bit. It's about a 5-minute video, but it's talking about the political environment Tonga is in now.
Okay.
In 2010, Tonga implemented major democratic reforms, limiting the influence of nobility in government. The recent moves by the Crown to regain some authority have reignited old debates about the role nobles play in governance. You see, while Tonga is semi-democratic, it's also a constitutional monarchy, and the royal family and the nobility still play a big role in how the kingdom is governed. This is the main chamber of Tonga's parliament. 26 seats for 26 politicians. Candidates who are elected by the people would take up 17 of those seats. The other 9 seats across the floor goes to the nobles. So while the
I have to say this. So this lady here who's
Yeah.
speaking, I went to school with her younger sister, and she went to Tonga High School. I just find it funny. Now we're seeing all these people doing ABC News and also Al Jazeera stuff. It's just funny to see a lot of the classmates from Tonga doing great things. Doing great
Ability
things.
still have some seats. They actually used to have a lot more.
I think you must understand about Tonga is that popular liberties didn't come about because of struggle by the Tongan people. They were granted to them by the monarchy. So that the monarchy is really the source of liberty and the source of
Good point.
security and freedoms.
In the past,
Very important. I can't understate this, Masi, and you thought it was important as well.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? This is Tupou
Well,
the fourth.
Yes. Before I go to Tupou the Fourth, I find it interesting that she said that the journalist saying that recent moves that the king has done to bring back power, but all he did recently, and I think
Was
and I'm just reading
exercise
between the lines.
power he has.
Yes, they're saying about the portfolio of the military and also, I think, foreign affairs. That
Yeah.
has always been with the monarchy. When people think of Tonga, they don't think of a politician having the portfolio of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's always been the king. He's always, from the beginning, always dealt with you know the foreign dignitaries from around the world and representing Tonga's behalf. That has always been him. So just because of the recent moves with the 2010, um, you know, implementing democratic principles, that kind of blur the line. Having the prime minister, but that with the prime minister being appointed and giving out portfolios of the cabinet, but the foreign ministry and his Majesty's military, that's always been under the king. So I'm not too sure. Some of this, it could be the ABC big dog that's paying her paycheck made her say things like that. But I don't understand why some of the mainstream media keep saying that the king has
Well,
made recent moves to bring back the power, to bring back to the old way. I don't know. That's me there.
Yes, no, there's a couple things I want to add to that are important. Number one, like you said, traditionally that was something that was always taken care of by the king and the royal family. Number two, who the king cannot take those things. Who gave the king those back? It was the democratic process. The democratic process that the parliament said we're going to give it to the king. See, this is the kind of stuff that I just find hilarious.
Yeah.
It's only democratic for certain people if you do what they think should be done.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Here we have a democratic process, and the democratic process was this. We elected representatives who represent the people, and those representatives chose to give it back to the king. The king didn't come and demand it and say, took it. The democratic process said, hey, we want to give it back to the king. They can always take it back. If the people vote into parliament, people who say we want to take it back from the king, that can happen. That's why it's kind of misleading, and I agree with you, misleading to say moves by the king to take these back. It's like, not really. It's called democracy. See, this is the problem. Democracy doesn't always look like what you want, but there are people who have this la la land picture in their head that democracy only looks this way. This is happening in America right now. A lot of people think the only way democracy will work is if you get rid of Uncle Donald. Well, the majority of the people voted for Uncle Donald. Yet they were saying, if you vote for Uncle Donald, you're going to destroy democracy. So wait a minute. If I use democracy, I'm destroying democracy. Doesn't make sense. Right? And this is the same thing that's going on in Tonga. The democratic process provided the capacity to give the king those portfolios.
Correct. Because they all understood that it was held traditionally always by the monarchy. The foreign
not only
affairs
that,
and the military.
Not only that, I think, see, this is the problem. It's not only that, Masi. They looked at results. they were like, wait a minute. When the king was taking care of it, we had better results.
Good,
And when they're
good point.
looking at when we tried to appoint people, we weren't getting the results. So really what the parliament did was what we were doing wasn't working. We tried something new, and these people who are complaining about it are saying, well, that's not democracy. I was like, well, really, that literally is what democracy is. And democracy is sometimes the people vote for things that you don't like and you don't
Yeah,
agree with.
yeah, yeah. The other thing too, I was thinking, man, Tupo the Four was hitting some dimes with those with what he was saying, and he's
Yes.
so right. We're almost like very for indigenous people, we have been blessed tremendously that we're almost forgetting where we got our freedom. It's almost like we've kind of
Yes.
we're being a generation forgetting our roots, our tufaholo, or like our what would you say? Our what would you say like
The
tufaholo?
inheritance. The
Our
inheritance.
inheritance. We're forgetting, and Dubois the Fourth hit it right. Who gave the people liberty? Was Dubois the First abandoning the serfdom, right?
Mhm.
The serfdom to chiefs, and then what happened to that? With Queen Salote marrying Tungi, what does that help? That's brought sovereignty to the people of Tonga, that we can have our own land and not be colonized by foreign countries to bring in their own rules and their traditions. So we've been very spoiled, in my opinion, spoiled blindly. I think a lot of it has to do because our people does pump out a lot of doctors compared to Samoa and Fiji, and there is
Western concepts and philosophy.
Western concepts and this um, this this mirage or smokescreen saying how Tonga's system of running is not good enough, that we can have something better, and they're choosing that thing they're thinking that's better is a more democratic way of governing, and they love them. I've heard some Tongans say becoming more like the UK, as an image. And I was like, no, 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 that's we don't want. Hell no, we don't want to be like the UK, right? And those are the things that I feel like we're missing out. And the Tupo the First, Tupo the Fourth is definitely right. Tonga has no, we have never experienced of what it is to have don't have liberties, and right now we're just being a little spoiled, throwing tantrums a little bit. That's what I'm seeing. But what
No,
what are your thoughts?
100%. So maybe Tonga, what Tonga is saying, that they want democracy so they can go through the drive-through and get uh sweet curry sauce.
Sweet curry
So, or
sauce.
like that's what we're saying. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that when you don't understand the gift that you've been given,
Mm,
you're willing to trade it for something that's not as of great value,
mm,
right? And so, like you're saying, this is why it was important for us to look at the history on how
mm,
we got here, to understand how unique and how rare. Masi, where else in the world have the people, the masses, gotten their freedom without severe bloodshed?
mm.
Where else in the world have not just the bloodshed, because America went through that bloodshed,
Yep.
but where else in the world you got your land not just with no bloodshed, for free,
Yeah.
for free,
Granted to you.
right? And where is it in the world that not only you got your land with no bloodshed, you got your rights with no bloodshed, you've gotten protection to allow you to not be subject to a foreign power,
Mm,
right? This is if you don't understand the uniqueness and the opportunity and the gift that you were given, and to understand that this is something super rare, look around the world and tell me where you're going to find something like this.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And by the way, what, you want to be like England, where you have to go buy your land? You
Yeah.
want to be like England, where the the Indians can come and buy Nuku'alofa out, or the Chinese buy all
Yeah.
of Nuku'alofa out, and you're only gonna get sweet chili or sweet curry sauce
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than
Or
some Tongan
yeah,
sauce.
and just and just to add on, and when you don't like what your parliament is passing in laws, your king just sits on the side, and all he does, he has no other choice. He has to approve them. He can't
Yeah,
he can't send it back and says he's gonna veto. He has no authority. You want Tonga to be like that when our government is, officials are doing something that is not good for the country, and the king does not have a say to kind of block that. Like that's the kind of government I don't want. We have a lot of checks and balances with our constitution, that and then our king, and then our people's representative. To me, it's a good balance that we have now, and I feel like it is very good to navigate the changing environment we have that's going to the future. Because like I said, this is good. This is what we have now. I feel like it's fair and it's good, and it's very good for indigenous people. Because like I said, we can all choose what kind of government we want. If we want to be more democratic, remember democratic principles, it's core principles. Everyone has a right, whether you are a Tongan or a non-Tongan. Everyone has a right to purchase property if you're a Tongan or a non-Tongan. Like there's some stuff that, like I said, it's not very Tongan if we keep applying more and more democratic principles. Because to me, democratic run principles, if some of it is good, like the voting, yes, we take what's good. That's what we Tongans have been doing from the beginning. The
thousands of
Polynesian,
years.
in the Tuitonga Empire, we've always taken the best what other islands within the Polynesian nation offered. We've taken what's good and apply it to the Tuitonga Empire, and we've survived coming to now. And we need to do the same thing. Take certain democratic principles, which has been done with the people choosing their prime minister and cabinet, and also the voting system, and let's stop it there. When you want to keep going more to purchase property, to have rights, and we call it rights for everybody, even non-Tongans, then you're in a dangerous waters that you're gonna lose everything in a blink of an eye. So that's just me.
Yep, absolutely. We'll come back to the video.
The monarch also chose the prime minister and members of the cabinet. Of the 30 seats in parliament, only 9 were reserved for the people's representatives. Beginning in the 1980s, the late Akudisipo Hiva became a key figure in Tonga's pro-democracy movement, arguing the system didn't fully serve the people.
There is a complete lack of accountability that causes corruptions.
See, and this is kind of my issues with that. What accountability?
Mm,
When it was a gift given to you
mm,
that you didn't spill blood, that you didn't pay money for,
mm,
what's the accountability?
mm.
Right? It's different. Like if Tonga bled, suffered, and died
Yeah.
for representation in the government, that is a correct statement. You're accountable to the people because the people bled, suffered, and died to obtain a democratic represented government like the United States of America, right? Where
Yeah.
they got a constitutional republic. They
Correct.
bled, suffered, and died. The King of England didn't give it to them.
Hmm.
This is what happens when you bring the wrong perception, wrong idea, and misapply it to the reality of the situation. All the rights and the opportunities and the structure of the government have been gifts from the king, and not just Tupo the first, but from the Tungi / Tuihatakalaua line
Hmm.
and / the Tuitonga lines. These are the lines that have looked out for the Tongan people. And we're
Yeah.
coming back and saying, you are not being held accountable. Accountable for giving you a gift. This reminds me of the story growing up. When you let your neighbor borrow your shovel and they use the shovel, and then when you go back to pick up the shovel that you let them borrow, and when you go grab it to bring it back to your house, and the neighbor goes, "When are you going to bring back my shovel?" This
Oh
literally
man.
happened to me as a kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
what I feel that Tupo the fifth did. They told him, "Hey, when are you going to give back the shovel?" Is what our grandfather said, Masi. If they want the shovel that bad, we'll use the shovel and we'll give it back to them, even though it's our shovel,
That's crazy.
right? And this is what I feel like this incorrect perception of democracy is.
Hmm.
They were given a gift, and then they turn around and use that gift and smack you for giving them a gift. I don't know.
Hmm.
This is just, I don't know. Any thoughts, or
Yeah.
you want to go back to the video?
No, no. Let's get back to the video.
Misuse of resources and other evils in the country.
Members of the royal family took control of the assets of government, and people were not happy.
I can't even go another 5 seconds. The royal family took control of the assets of the government. Let's wind back. Who owns all the assets? The royal family. Right? Did we lose you, Masi? Are you still there? We'll give him a chance to join here. But let's go back and look at the path that we took to get here. And looks like Mr. Aotearoa's computer is restarting. Okay. I have to stop right here because it's like, oh, he took over the assets. Literally, everything was owned by the royal family, right? And the nobles. And they have willingly given it back. So to take this narrative that, oh, they've gone and snatched up all the assets, no one has taken it from them. It's theirs. They have graciously shared it over multiple generations. Right? So this is, once again, when you don't understand the gift that you've been given, you will not know how to use it. You will use it inappropriately and you will throw it away, not even knowing the gift that you were given. Because these gentlemen, I'm not saying they're evil. I think they're sincerely trying to do something good, but they're bringing a foreign perspective, history from the West that is not an accurate representation of the rich and dynamic history of Tonga and Polynesia, and they're trying to force these ideas. They're not being honest to themselves, or if not, they're unaware of those realities. So that's why it's hard for me. I had to stop it again because I'm just like, what in the world's going on here? This makes zero sense on what they're saying, what they're doing. Just going to let Mr. Aotearoa know. We'll try and wait for him. And it's just really unfortunate. This is why this is such an important topic. And I know we're overseas. You know, Mr. Aotearoa and I, we grew up in Tonga. And I saw this. You know, quote unquote democracy movement. There's some good things there. The unfortunate thing is, like we mentioned earlier, sometimes the people who cause the issues are presenting themselves as a solution. There are many ways, if not always, a way to implement the changes that they're asking for within the existing system. And remember, this existing system was not paid for was not fought for in bloodshed. It was freely given at many steps to the people. And it would be a false assumption and a unwise assumption to say things like they're saying, oh, the royal family has absorbed all the assets. In theory, it technically is all their assets, but they are giving it and sharing it with the people. And when you slap them across the face for the gift that they're giving, that's when you're leading towards civil unrest, political unrest, and hopefully never, but violence. Right? And once again, this is not something new. This is literally what happens when there are people vying for power, as Mussy had brought up. This happened in 1916 when Queen Salote and her father were going through transition of power. There were challenges to power within that time frame that led to social unrest, and certain decisions were made. Great political moves were done, marriages were done to stabilize the government. And now, 100 or so years later, we've gone through the similar things, right? It's kind of uncanny that 1916, there's that civil unrest, and then what? Early 2000s, 100 years later, there's some more of the similar thing, except now it's not coming within the nobles and the ruling royal family, but it's coming from a pro democracy movement that, from my perspective, are asking Tongans to sacrifice the gift that they've been given for a democratic solution. That democracy is a very difficult and unstable thing to establish, which you're asking, they think they're asking people just to change your government structure. No, what they're asking for is pain and suffering, instability, chaos, which is what we've seen since 2010, right? Loss of economic opportunity, loss of future progress because of this instability. All because certain people have their own version of what democracy looks like, and they have the perception that democracy is the one fit solution for all the problems. And I'm saying, slow down, understand how we got here, understand the uniqueness of what Tonga has accomplished over thousands of years, and don't be so willing to throw it away for some fantasy idea. And nothing against Akilispo Ohiva, but ever since the democratic installation of these additional powers to the people, the government has been unstable. He was not the first PM when the new changes were made. And when he was PM, there was not this unified, spotless government and leadership that he expressed. And this seems to be true of those who are quick to mock or to point fingers at problems. When they come into power, they quickly realize it's not that easy. Like we mentioned, power is fragile. It is, I won't say easy, but it's easier to get into power. It is a whole different thing to maintain power. Just look at the Tongan government in the last 15 years. Instability, endless quarreling, multiple votes of no confidence. The budget of the government is exploding and nothing. I think what they're close to 1 billion paanga. I have no idea how you spend 1 billion paanga in Tonga. I have no idea. I really don't know how you spend all that kind of money. I just pray and hope that a majority of that money is from grant and not from internal funds or revenue that the country is generating. Because what that is those are funds that should go back to the people in some way or form, whether it's through infrastructure, whether it's through education, much like what Queen Salote did. It's something that we have to honestly sit back and look at. And like Mr. Atearoa mentioned, I saw the results. The people get what they vote for, right? And what I've noticed is the people get what they vote for. A democratic process was executed, and somehow it's still the king's fault. You know, that's something that I find hilarious. Welcome back, Mr. Atearoa.
Thank you. Computer went through some mandatory updates. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, the New Zealand government just hacked into your computer and now they're recording us live, sending. Yeah. I was just cracking up, Mussy, just making some commentary while we waited for you.
Yeah.
The people keep getting more rights and control, and the more they exercise those rights and control, it's somehow still the royal family's fault.
Typical. Typical.
Typical.
Easy to blame somebody else. Easy to
Yes.
blame somebody else.
And like we
Always.
said earlier, it's easier to get into power, much harder to stay in power and to provide results. But we'll head back to the video now that you're back.
Calls for democratic reforms grew louder in the 90s. Then in 2003, the government at the time attempted to make constitutional changes that would give them greater control over the local press. 2005 saw civil servants go on strike, calling for greater pay equity. With discontent finally spilling over when the Nuku'alofa riots erupted in 2006. At the closing of Parliament.
Now, I thought it interesting. I mentioned it earlier. 100 years earlier, riots. 100 years later, riots. There, I don't know what you've heard, Mussy. I'm interested to see what you've heard. But I've heard that these riots was not huge swaths of people who started this. That it was actually a very small group of people. But as always, once you start seeing people get free stuff, right? It's kind of like here, we're starting to find out that a lot of these quote unquote riots are staged with a small group. But once people see the looting, they fall into the temptation to just loot and take. And, you know, there's room, and we'll get to the Tuiperehake. He speaks this later. But did you hear anything? You have any knowledge or heard anything on the driver behind those riots?
The only other thing, I mean, I kind of heard the same thing with you, but I think this is another thing. I hear a lot of them were LDS folks. That's just what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah.
So Tonga, please do better. That's just me too. I'm just hearing.
I've heard stories like that where like people are calling each other bishop, and they're like, "Hey, don't call me bishop while we're trying to loot stuff."
Yeah. So the LDS folks, please. I don't know what you guys talking in your individual wards over there in Tonga. I hope it's on the gospel doctrines and principles, not something else.
Yeah.
On how we should not have a monarchy and all these kind of stuff. So that's just other stories. I don't know if it's like I said, we just barely kind of moved to America. We were trying to figure out, trying to get back there, but now that I've gotten older, I'm hearing stories. A lot of it was our LDS folks. So please, any of you guys that know any of your family members who are LDS in Tongatapu, to please calm down, learn the scriptures, and we don't what is it? What's the articles of faith that says that we respect the kings, whatever lands,
Yeah, the
whatever.
local government.
the local government. So that's Article of Faith. I think it's Articles of Faith number 6. Please
Yeah,
follow.
Maria
But
Masi, you're better than me. You know what I think is funny about
what's
that?
up?
I would like to hear them on their discourse on how democracy works in the celestial kingdom. Do we vote? We vote to get to heaven, or how does that work? From
Mm,
what I understand, there's the king. There's a
yes,
king on the other side. So how are
a
they gonna
supreme
feel?
ruler.
Yeah,
Correct.
how are they gonna feel when they burn stuff over here and loot for democracy and then get to the other side? What, you gonna burn the spiritual naratams up over
Actually,
there?
Tua, you're bringing a point. Now you're making this. This is almost like a Tonga and like in the heavens. With remember, there was one supreme
Mhm.
ruler, the king, which is God the Father, and then who's always saying that they don't have enough rights and all of these things? Lucifer. Eh? What's going on over here? I don't
I'm
know. I'm
just
seeing
saying. I'm
parallels
just
here.
saying. Yeah.
I'm just saying. So please,
You know.
our LDS folks in Tonga Tapu and all of Tonga, actually, I'm just saying that's what I've been hearing. Even if I heard it, that's not a good look on the
No.
Tongans in overseas because we're making big waves and moves over here. So please learn a little bit and don't learn other things on what is looking for the kapangako or the the free stuff. And so so yeah, that's just
Mm.
me to just to add on. Other
No.
than what you
Good
heard, I've
point.
heard the same
Good
thing,
point.
but I just
Good
thought I'll
point.
throw that in there.
Okay. Okay.
In that year, King George V promised he would be voluntarily surrendering his powers to meet the democratic aspiration of many of
Volunteering.
his people,
That's the
but not
theme and what we're hearing. Once again, no bloodshed.
Mm,
And rumor has it that this was coming. It's not
mm,
that Tupo the fifth said, "Oh, I'm going to add new things." This was coming, and the
yeah.
rumor was the people who quote unquote wanted democracy, they realized two things: they were not going to be in power because, like I said, they went to this, more democratic situation, and the people chose people who chose a noble to be the first prime minister,
Mm.
right? And rumor
Mm.
has it is they didn't like that, and they needed to cause issues to make things happen faster. Anyways,
Even though it was a
everyone was
democratic
happy.
process, that's the thing. It's the same
exactly.
thing. Same thing with what happened with the legislators decided to give the portfolios and just leave it with the king because that's what
Yeah.
traditionally he always had.
Once again, there's a lot of people who say they want democracy, but the only democracy they want is the one that they think of.
Their
And if
version.
it
Yeah.
and if it doesn't match what they think the people should vote for, they don't call it democracy.
Mm.
One of the king's
Right
cousins, who
here.
represents nobles in the parliament, boycotted the session, claiming he would not sit with the commoner MPs, whom he labelled terrorists.
We might as well invite bin Laden
So there's
to attend the
Tuperehake.
closing of Parliament.
Mm.
I'm not a terrorist. I'm only doing my job.
So let's put this in context now. We just saw the Tuiperehake, which descends from the Tuifarewa, which is the heir of the Tangaloa line, right? The eldest.
Mm.
Now think about that. Look at the thousands of years in that,
Mm.
right? Now, why is he saying it's a terrorist? Because he believes that this was staged
Mm.
and they were using violence
Mm.
to achieve a political outcome that they wanted, right? Interesting. Now, his defense was, you notice he doesn't say, I'm not a terrorist because I didn't do anything violent. I didn't do
Mhm.
anything, whatever. He just says, I'm just doing my job. Okay. Okay. What are your thoughts? Anything to
No,
add there?
nothing too much. He's Tatu Perehake. He was just stating on what he was observing, right, of that period of that time. And like I said, these are people who have understand and have oral history of how certain civil wars have happened so many times. This is like modern civil war that's kind of springing up a little bit. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
He's just calling out what it is, and then even though he's not doing like with the violence, but you're not doing anything to calm the temperature down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not calling for peace or a civil um, dialogue to be happened here in a peaceful way instead of violent bursts. So yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
It's been 15 years since the democratic reforms, but debates over the nobility's role in government lingers.
Tau whakapeki he to'on mawhai. He koe hi, ko tau atu whakamalohi. E whare o tupou, ke to'on mai mawhai. Koe COVID-19 te pea, tupou uraki moe otua. Na e mai e tāpua ki koea, ke tupou uraki, ko tupou uraki te matoai. E whonua no whakatahatahai.
Former Prime Minister and
But once again, I agree with what he said.
Mm.
But what I would love for him to add, what Laufidi Tonga added to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Tupo the first by himself. What Laufidi Tonga did, and then also to say what Tungi and the Tuiha Takalaua house brought to the table. So this is it would be, I think it is unfair. It's not that he's doing anything wrong. I just think it's unfair to not recognize these were sacrifices and gifts from all the three major lines. And it just happened to be carried forth by the Tupo line today.
Former Speaker of the House, Lord Tuvano, believes the country's constitution is broken.
Ko ngalo ia tau tolu, koe me ene whakahamai. Whakahamu ke mau tauhi ke sihowa a taingata. Mo ki nau tolu e mui mai mui, le whakahamu ke ua toi ala hata. Pako hai, ke ne we e te whitoi. Konis tūtone.
Some, like the lawyer and political commentator Lopez Zentuli, disagrees.
What we are witnessing is a reversal of the democratic changes that happened in 2010. I am worried.
Once again, democracy was used to achieve an outcome, and they call it reversal of democracy.
He just already looks bad with the earring, and he's in his age. I don't know. I'm trying to say maybe late 60s or 70s, and my man's still wearing the earring and it's thing like that. It's like, come on, man, act your age, bro. Come on, come on, come on, bro.
Straight to the jugular, Masi. You went
Yeah,
straight to the
sorry.
jugular.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just that was just
No, Masi. I've
I heard
already
little
accepted
things.
it. Oh, malo hiyo haamoa. That's the haamoa side right there. That's your Samoan DNA coming out.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of picked up a little bit, but I was just looking at him. I was like, dude, why is this guy not acting his age with the earring in his ear? Come on, man. Shit. Don't know gi mau eh. Tau atamaya dyan na ni.
Interesting.
We may revert to a situation where it was necessary to make the democratic changes.
Despite their differences, both Tuvano and Zentuli believes some reform is still needed. Recent years have been marred by instability.
Our homeboy, Somalen.
Vote of Nogos, Tony get a Fafaka. How the man outside? Kahonomoni, Fakamore, better to like Fakabore Bang, more the time you put it.
That's fair, right? That's a fair thing. It puts the government in gridlock. Can't progress.
It does. You waste time. You waste opportunities, and when I say missed opportunities, you could have used that time to make treaties, secure deals with other countries to get better development. But now we're just having a vote of no confidence, and all the time is going there. But and it goes with to me, the problem goes before that. We need to be better amongst the MPs of having self-interest, who to pick which MP, so that I can get a certain portfolio, even though maybe I'm not the best fit. Instead of picking the best MP, so that the MP can be free to pick who the necessary people are, and don't feel like he's tied in order to get your votes, that you have to pick him for a certain portfolio, even though you're probably not the best person to do the job. That's
about
that's the issue. That's the issue
Yeah.
that's going on.
How about the other issue? If you think you can just have all the portfolios, Have you-
Well,
how
no, and
about
that's
how about if you're so good, you can
yeah.
be PM and have all the portfolios under you?
Yes. No, and that's the problem. Wouldn't you say that's even worse than a king? I've never heard of a king get all the portfolios, even before the 2010 democracy principles being exercised. I've never heard. I don't know. I've never seen that. I mean, I'm just saying. We always people always think you put people who've never had authority, they just had what they know, and then when you give them a little authority, they squeeze it, and then they squeeze the life out of it until you force them, like a vote of no confidence, like what Lord um no is saying. We shouldn't do it, but in reality, it is a waste of time. And a lot of that waste of time is because people are, like I said, and I think this goes to the point of to both the first. We've always had leadership do the work for us, and then we let people do the work. We almost like we have this power authority, we don't know what to do. It's almost like when you have somebody, you know first time to have power, and then they don't know what to do, what leadership looks
Yeah.
like. And that's
Well,
what Tonga's going through
no,
at the
and that's the
moment.
thing. And this is what we're coming back to. We looked at 3,000 years. Can you imagine all the changes in technology, all the changes in social structure, all the potential opportunities for civil wars, and it somehow survived and it's navigated? And look at the fruit it bears in the modern area of a free society, right? With democratic principles.
Yeah.
And you want to scrap the whole thing
Yeah.
and just go into popular vote? Like how dumb. That's like saying, you know what? I don't like what Elon Musk is doing. I'm gonna go back and ride horses now. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
Amish. And then after you be Amish for a little bit, you realize, man, my productivity in farming, my productivity in producing goods sucks. Well, it's because you threw away the Industrial Revolution. You threw away how many, hundreds of years of development to start with your own little idea. Why don't you build on the ideas that made you successful and build on top of that? Instead, I feel like these guys who want to go 100% democracy, they're doing the same thing. They want to throw away this well-proven system
Yeah.
and structure, and they want to start from scratch. And then we're going to relive what the Europeans. This is why France went through so many
Civil
revolutions,
wars.
because
Revolution.
they kept trying to implement a pure democracy, and all it did was they cannibalized on each other, and they just kept getting into civil war after civil war. That's the same thing like the government for the last 15 years. They've cannibalized, and they haven't been able to move forward because they're too tied up in, we want democracy. Democracy. It's like, guess what, dude? Every time you've gotten the democracy that you think, it hasn't gotten better. Anyways, any additional thoughts there, Mussy, before we go back?
No, I mean, you get people who don't know what it's like to be um achy, and then they try to lead like a achy, and then they end up falling short.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, that's the thing. And you bring a good point, Mussy. The only real leadership that they kind of know, but they don't have the experience, is to duplicate what they've seen from the Aki. So what did they do? Be the head of state and take on all the portfolios, because that's what they see Aki do. So really, you come up with a new idea. You just said, we'll do the same thing, but I will be in charge. And somehow it's like the people who believe in socialism and communism. Somehow they think because they are the ones leading it, it's going to work. It's like, dude, that's been tried over and over again, and it fails every time.
Yeah.
What we are witnessing is that the pro-democracy candidates are fighting each other.
And he got reelected. Malo to our Democratic Tongan voted.
Yeah, he got reelected.
The man who got the punch and started the fight, he got reelected. And And I just want to add on. That's probably one thing that, I think I've mentioned it before, Tua, that I don't mind expanding with some restrictions regarding the voting, just not in Tonga. It needs to happen now to all Tongans throughout the world, wherever they may be, and they have to do the votes wherever a Tongan consulate is at. And in order, and when I say Tongans from overseas, you have to be Tongan by blood, and I'm just saying by blood because I feel like a Tongan out overseas is always gonna do what's right to me, or think what's right to what's gonna happen to Tonga. I don't think any person in Tonga that's most that's gonna do something that's gonna affect Tonga. And to me, the Tongan citizens who live in Tonga who are non-Tongans, yes, they can vote. But if you're a Tongan citizen that lives abroad, you don't vote. But it's only Tongans by blood you can vote. And I feel like that will, because Tua. I only reason why I say that, the people who voted just within Tonga is 49%, right?
Yeah.
49%. That's less than half. And people, I've heard people say that, the population in Tonga that live overseas is way more than the Tongans that live in Tonga. But to me, I don't think every Tongan is gonna make have the same amount of high percentages that are gonna go and vote. It's gonna be, a few here and there. But to me, like I said, the Tongans in Tonga, they keep electing people that are like, dude, how do these people still get in? And to me, when you get more people in the game, like I'm a big believer, a Tongan overseas is a Tongan wherever they're gonna be. If we believe that you're a Tongan, just because you have to, in order to be part of Tonga's process in Tonga, but when we do family kavengas, and not only that, not only family kavengas, but when we have a ho'eiki that's being bestowed or they need something to done, it's not just the Tongans from Tonga, it's Tongans from everywhere that's helping, contributing.
No, and
So
that's interesting.
yeah, that's just me.
I'm somewhat open to the idea, but I think it needs to have some kind of restriction. I would say maybe if you have to be the heir, like the oldest. I want to
Okay.
restrict it because my biggest concern is how sucky would it be to live in Tonga, and because there's so many Tongans outside of Tonga, you feel like your vote doesn't count in Tonga because everybody overseas is just gonna
hey,
outvote you because there's too many Tongans outside of Tonga.
hey, well, we'll see. Well, like I said, that 49%, that less than half, I can guarantee you it's probably not going to go lower than 70. It's going to be 70 to 100 now. Hey, there's benefit. And I'm just saying the ones outside in Tonga, I mean, I'm just thinking like, Auckland probably have a big pool because it's a lot of Tongans live in Auckland. There is a Tongan consulate here, but like in America, Tongans would have to go to like San Francisco. That's not an easy trip. Tongans who live in Australia have to go to Canberra or whatever to go and make a vote. Are they gonna make that? I don't know if it's gonna be that much, but
Yeah,
like I said,
maybe if you have a Tongan passport, you have a
Mm.
Tongan passport and you can show up with it, you can vote. But some because you're right, like you still have to. I think if maybe that's the limitation to add just to kind of make it kind of fair is. But then if you find out there's like 20,000 Tongans living overseas, you're like, I'm not even gonna go and campaign in Tonga. I'm just gonna campaign in Auckland, New Zealand.
Well, what the campaignings that I've seen, a lot of them are really doing videos. I
Digital.
mean, they're doing the streaming while they're
Mhm.
doing the campaigning at the halls in each villages. So to me, it's already gonna head that way, and that's one democratic principle I would like to see expanded. I'm pretty confident that I feel like Tonga will be fine. And to me, hey, if the Tongans in Tonga care about what's going on in the future, it doesn't. From what I see, it ain't happening. And 49%, that's worse than a F. Like that's pretty far. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
like, to me, hey, if you want to get everybody engaged, I'm not a fan of punishing people who don't want to vote because that's really up to their choice.
Yeah.
And to me, to get the people's attention within Tonga, you pass this, you allow more robust debate amongst your officials, more screening. I feel like there's a lot of positive that can come to it. and then you get the Tongans in Tonga and the Tongans in overseas to have a more of a fofola fala kay tao noy kainga. That practice will really happen
Yeah.
amongst Tongans in overseas and the Tongans in Tonga, because then you really exercise tao noy
We
kainga.
just need a really long fala to go from Tonga all the way to New Zealand and Australia
Iyo.
and the
Hey,
US.
we live in a digital world. I can't see why not happening.
Yeah,
So
we're having a digital kava session. So I mean, where are we gonna stop there?
yeah, so that's my thoughts there, Tua. I just
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm open to it. I think that you got to figure out a way to, because I'd feel really bad for those in Tonga. They're like, yeah, why go vote? There's 300,000 Tongans outside of Tonga. I'm not even gonna go vote today.
yeah, and keep bringing numbers like 49% who actually voted this past. Yeah, have that mentality.
Hi. All right, let's finish this up.
That is
All right.
conducive to democratic changes. And that's a big, big setback.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, looks
Welcome
like
to my right.
we finished the video. That pretty much was the end of the show. I'll give my closing thoughts, Mr. Aotearoa, and you can close us out. Shout out to all the viewers and listeners who've been sticking with us. We're going on 3.5 hours. Really appreciate the viewers. Really appreciate those who threw in the digital kava bag to give us another bucket to Palu to finish off the second half of the show. Really want to just say no hard feelings towards our brothers over there at the Offside Podcast. We love it. We just had to show, like, guys, some consistency is helpful sometimes in the approach, and kind of giving some context before you attack us next time. Just be kinder to us. We're gonna be kinder back. And then also, on the second half of the show, really important, understand the details, the context, appreciate what you have, the history behind it, what our ancestors did, so that we don't just throw it away for some new shiny idea that has failed in a lot of places and you want to go implement it, and just have some appreciation and gratitude for our ancestors, what they've done, and excited for the future, excited for what opportunities come. As always, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to be a paid member, there is a join button. Add us, and that's another way you can contribute to the work that we do, and appreciate everything. Malo Masi for your time, and that's it for me. Malo.
No, appreciate it, Tua. Thank you for always starting this our digital live kava session, always with some topics, and creating this platform, so that we can have this live digital kava session. Thank you to our viewers, always constant support, always engaging with us in any, in a variety of ways, and bringing ideas so that we can discuss. Like we mentioned before, we're grateful for everyone's support. Love everyone. It's just a discussion that we like to have in the Kava Circle. Yeah, and that's me. We always, like we do in every live digital Kava session, we always ended on their 3 questions or 3 positions that we always share is ask the hard questions, stay curious, and 2, what was the third one? I always miss the third
Be
one.
bold. Don't be afraid to
bold.
ask
Yes,
hard
sir.
questions, and stay curious.
There we
Peace.
go. Ofatu.
Ofatu.